Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Premier Valor League. My name's TJ, joined by D2. We do have a spicy game ahead of us. Well, three of them, three up-and-coming NA bouts to go. And I'm really excited because this has been, not only will this be my first AoV tournament since Valor Series, but also this is going to be a look, I think, ahead at what comes next for the NA scene. We have a lot of teams here where I haven't seen all their players before, and you have no idea how exciting that is for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that we would like to see move up in the NA tournament scene, and you have to imagine that's just going to continue to rise as people are inspired by how dominant BM Gaming was at those Valor Series Season 3 finals. Spoilers? I guess not really. But yeah, going forward, it would be amazing to see some of the great NA talents coming up. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not supposed to say things like this, but it was really satisfying to see the NA teams crush at the Valor Series finals, and it was really exciting to me to see a team made out of players who hadn't won before. I would think I would have been a little bit disappointed if it had just been a continuation of ALG that won again, but because we got this BMG side that did contain wholly new players, that did contain players who hadn't won before, I think we got to set, hopefully, a tempo for the rest of the upcoming Arena of Valor competition. We get to see new players doing new things.
You would have never known it from their comments, though. The way they were talking and looking ahead to the AWC, you would have thought that they won like so every single event. I was like, really, guys? But I guess if you're that good, you're that good. And they certainly proved it. Went undefeated the entire time. But that was then, this is now, and we have some exciting teams on the docket.
Sure, I like
words. I was like bracket, brocket, docket.
Here is the Brock League, a single elim best of 3 tournament. You can see the bracket as we've had so far. We'll start today off with King Crimson versus ATroubledFew. Move on at around 8 PM to Rain versus YugenDynasty, and then close things out with We Can Turn This Around versus Assassin's Squad.
We should explain where they are in the tournament. So King Crimson and ATroubledFew, that is finishing out the first round. And we have this interesting situation where there's 12 teams. So this is like the lead into the next round where 4 teams were fortunate enough to get buys. So King Crimson and ATroubledFew are finishing out that first round. We had 3 matches yesterday that unfortunately TJ and I couldn't be part of the broadcast for that. So we're doing the end of the first round and the first half of the second round.
Yes. Round 1.5.
Exactly.
And
how this works... do you want to go ahead?
No, you have the seat. It's been a while.
Okay. Right. All this back and forth and hemming and hawing. Anyway, so how this works is there is, and correct me if I'm wrong, we have 1 qualifier from this tournament, another qualifier from the next qualifying tournament, which is going to be happening in June, and then a final 2 qualifiers from the last tournament, and then there's going to be invites filling out. And it's not going to be your traditional invites where like, hey, let's bring the biggest team in. It's a lot of it's looking at the quality of the teams here. So even if you get knocked out by BM Gaming, for instance, if you showed a good performance, then that might earn you an invite later.
Yeah, which is super exciting to me. So we are just waiting on a few players to get in. It sounds like they're all like in a room somewhere. So they're walking into rooms and then sitting down with their phones. That's where we're at right now. So I'll tell you what, unless you have anything burning to get off your chest, let's go back to some music for a few minutes and we'll kick things off when the players are getting ready to go in earnest. Does that sound good?
Yep, sounds good. I think one person, we're waiting on basically one person who is trying to get to that room as quickly as possible.
You know who you are. You're holding everything up. It's all on you. We'll be right back with that person after this. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back! That was a desk slam. My name is still TJ, still joined by D2. He doesn't have a desk he can slam, I don't think.
What? How would I be looking at a computer without a... What?
I don't know.
I just have it on the ground?
Stream, you're literally like on the floor, in a corner. There, I assume your computer's just resting on bottles of alcohol.
It's not too far from the truth, though.
Oh, no. We're back into it, the PVL Rush. I should know that for sure. PVL Victory Rush, as we do have all 10 players in the lobby. We had to have a substitute over on the King Crimson side.
I was about to say I knew it was gonna happen. We had 9 players in the lobby for a long time, and then the final person showed up, and no one started the game until therefore the lobby has expired. We need a new lobby. Anyway, sorry, that's behind the scenes stuff for you guys.
I was so ready for it that I was just gonna power past it. I was like that ready for it that I wasn't even gonna acknowledge it on the stream, so nobody got worried. And then
you're just beyond ready.
Dump the dirty laundry. Empty the laundry hamper. All right.
All over the stream.
Yeah.
We need a laundry.
Just like your computer room now.
Yeah, exactly.
We do have a second lobby, so we'll be good to go in a few moments. But this is the PVL Victory Rush BO3 single Elim tournament. While we're getting all 10 players back in the lobby. Here, take a look at this bracket. I made it fly onto the screen with like motion transitions, so I'm gonna press that button at least twice. That's the bracket we've seen so far. All games are BO3. We're starting off with the final round 1 game between King Crimson and ATroubledFew. We'll move on and cover Reign versus YugenDynasty, as well as We Can Turn This Around versus Assassin Squad as well tonight. Sorry.
Okay, multiple teams, by the way, have been clamoring to join this tournament just because BM Gaming is in here, and these two in particular are teams that you should be paying attention to because ATroubledFew, they have been around for a while, and King Crimson, not only have they been around for a while, but they have been clamoring to join this particular tournament because they've had issues in the past.
I'm very excited. I'm not going to lie, I've already been spoiled. I'm rooting for King Crimson because one of their players is a fan. And that's all it takes. I'm very bribable. I joined this lobby and Ninja was like, TJ! And I was like, all right, I know who I'm rigging the tournament for. I
thought it was the other Ninja for a second. I'm like, Ninja plays Arena of Valor?
Yeah,
Hello?
He does, weirdly enough. He stopped his Fortnite streams. Now he just plays AoV in community tournaments.
And is now has changed gender to a woman and is now playing Arena of Valor.
There was, so I'm kind of that as well. For I don't know if you do know, of course, because you're a Hearthstone guy. TJ Sanders.
Yes, I do. I actually casted with him a few times.
Go look at me rubbing shoulders with fame. Humble brag. I don't see how it is. But
hey, you name dropped. I just continued. Anyway, go ahead.
He's a Hearthstone caster, and I assume he's good at his job. I don't watch dice rolling games, so I don't know. But I and it's better now because most people know what they're getting into when someone says, "Oh, TJ's casting." But definitely when I started casting, I was casting a whole bunch of Counter-Strike things, and people would tune in and they go, "What? The Hearthstone casters? What? He's casting Counter-Strike?" That they tune in, it would be me, but like bad because I was extra garbage back then, and they'd be so disappointed.
The funny thing is, TJ, the other TJ, is actually, I think he has actually cast other games because I don't think he started with Hearthstone, and he has that like kind of castery voice that can kind of transfer anywhere, which is kind of what was going on with you as well. It's funny, you both have very castery voices, and yet you look completely different. He is complete dad bod, and you are tall and skinny. We're gonna go with that.
Where was that sentence going that wasn't tall and skinny?
I don't know.
I see. All right.
Yes.
We do have all 10 players in our secondary lobby. Both teams have said they're ready, and I am literally hovering my mouse over the fade transition button on my OBS but like not pressing it now because I don't want to leak the lobby ID to everyone, which I have done in previous tournaments, and I'm being a good caster man. There we go.
Safe. We're in there.
So, I don't know very much about either of these teams, aside from pretty much the brief little diatribe we said at the top. But I also have been a little bit out of the competitive meta, because the last time I casted any form of competitive AoV was Valor Series Finals. So,
well, the bigger point here is that
different?
Yeah, the bigger point here is that every single tournament, with exception of the AOG, which is Vietnam League, and the GCS, which just started their playoffs last weekend, every single league had been running on the previous patch, even though it was over a month after the new patch came out. So we've had very little in the way of play on the new patch to see what the pros are doing. And even the pros themselves would like to see what other pros are doing so they can switch up their own games here. And right off the bat, we're seeing what this new meta entails, because Caphany, after she's come out, has been immediately recognized as one of the top heroes in the game.
I would be astounded if Caphany wasn't insta-banned, but I'm happy to see that I was right. We don't see a Caphany, we don't see a Florentino. That kind of has to go through. Same for Darcy. These are all kind of mandated bans. Is Hayate on that list as well?
Hayate, actually, he got a stealth buff in the last patch. Previously, when he throws out his shuriken, his first ability, he wasn't able to get critical hits off of it. And now he gets critical hits, but only on the true damage portion, which is to say, only on the ridiculous part of it. So he does crazy damage as long as he's able to land multiple shots in the same hero. So yes, the long-winded way of saying yes, he is a banned hero these days.
And there is the ban going through, so a good call on that as Hayate's off the pool. Now, first pick, Asterid. I'm assuming that's not global meta, but we have seen some very powerful Asterids as of late. She did get buffed. She was used in the jungle competitively and successfully, I might note. So it's not as crazy as it could be.
Well, there's one thing we need to mention here, even though I know this is the community tournament and I'm kind of going off on a tangent on international play, but there is the global pick ban system, which doesn't mean global as an international. It means like all of the games put together. So once you pick a hero, you can't pick a hero in the next game, and that resets in game 7. So we have seen Astrid actually in some of the top leagues in the world, but only, when it gets to like game 4 or so.
Yeah. That'll be really exciting, actually. It'll be under effect in the AWC. So we'll get to see some of the best players in the world being forced to play the weirdest characters. And we will have the emote Omega Low, I assume. And that is my favorite part of the AWC that I can't wait for. Tilan Aurum is the answer from ATroubledFew as they get ready to go. Oh, I have the teams backwards. From King Crimson as they get ready to go with a solid mid-lane support duo. Liliana to answer that Tulin in mid. Rourke in the jungle, meaning that's a lane Asterid.
Yeah, I was assuming that was going to be the case from the get-go. What I'm curious about is whether this Aurum is going to be in the support role or the side lane role. Typically, you run her in support these days, and looks like that's still going to be the case because Arduin's more suited to that side lane.
I'm very worried about the day that we see successful lane Aurum. Because she doesn't really do enough damage. There's no real reason to run her in the side lane because you can just run her as a support and have a good time. But I definitely was worried when the Mantle of Ra changes came around that you could just build full tank Aurum, put Mantle of Ra on her, she'd clear wave, we'd be set. At
this point, if you're going to go for that kind of very sturdy side lane strategy, it's just better to run Roxy, in my opinion. So I think if you're going to see Aurum, you're going to see her in that support role because of you just need the utility of that snare, and you need to have it as often as possible. And support is the one role that is always on the map, always looking to get those kills. Whereas if you're in a side lane, you might miss out on those opportunities.
Speaking of supports, there's a ban of one of the better ones. You don't normally see Bolden banned out, but I really, really like him. So I see why you would get rid of him. particularly if they know that ATroubledFew has a good player who likes their Baldom.
I think in this particular... Yeah, and I think in this particular format where you have the double ban phase, you're going to see actually a lot more Baldom bans in that second round. Something you'll see teamy as well, especially because if you can kind of shut down what your opponent's trying to do with the support situation, you can really come far ahead and kind of limit what they're capable of doing.
Mm-hmm. Yorn coming through with a Nacroth now. So jungle battle will be Nacroth into Rourke, which I have to side with the Nacroth on, provided the Rourke doesn't find a good engage. And also picking a Yorn into Nacroth seems a little bit questionable to me, especially Nacroth with Tulin. There's just so much dive.
This support pick is going to be massive, what they pick here, in order to hold off the Nacroth. I would like to see something like a Teamy. Crushed is reasonable as well. Okay, they do go for the Sushi Crest, the new skin there, or relatively new skin.
This ACF roster will only win if they initiate. If they do, it's going to be scary, because you have Metamorphosis, Rourke, Asteroid, right? Just a wave in the front lines with Liliana Yorn for CC and damage. But I feel like the second a fight doesn't happen on their terms, they're just going to get stuffed.
Right. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I feel like if this is grand finals of the AWC, then King Crimson wins hands down, just because they're able to just be more flexible around the map and take all these fights. But I think in we're here in the first round of Community Tournament, I really like the ability of having that stable composition here from ATroubledFew, so that they can go into those fights. And if this gets into like the mid to late game where we are seeing those 5v5 team fights, I really like ATroubledFew's chances there.
I think the lesson maybe to take away is I believe King Crimson outdrafted them. At this level of play, that's not a guaranteed win. When we're talking Valor Series finals, when we're talking AWC finals, winning the draft means winning the game. We're not there. At this level, the skill difference can be enough to make up for that.
Right, and it goes down to style of play as well. I know this may be confusing for some of our viewers to talk about, but it really requires a crazy level of coordination to pull off what we see here from King Crimson. And we'll have to see if they're able to pull it off. Whereas I know, looking at ATroubledFew's side, that all they have to do is group up relatively well, and they're going to just steamroll over them if they can do that.
So the big reason we've been talking about this group's team fight is because of how much mobility King Crimson have. That Tulin Nacroth gives them the ability to get onto the Yorn, get onto the Rourke in fights they don't want. And disengage from the Rourke when they get a good fight that King Crimson doesn't want to take. And then they just have this brilliant double beef line, Ardu and Aram. Like, nothing is going to get past that, and the Wisp can just sit behind it and rain in damage. And that's just a really solid draft.
Yeah, you see a lot of independence on the side here of King Crimson, right? Nacroth and Tulin can make plays by themselves. The Arduin can handle himself over in that side lane. And then finally, if you take a look at the Wisp and the Aram, there's going to be a duo the entire time. And, just best buddies over in that Dragon lane so that Wisp never gets caught off guard.
I legitimately just had to remember how the spectator mode worked. Wow.
Now you know what it feels like to be a spectator at the Valor Series finals and then randomly just jump into the corner and see a bunch of rocks.
Oh, we're good. That was just, we were examining the ball height for a moment. They had a rough time. I feel very sorry for them. There were some bad tech issues. I don't have any tech issues, though. I hope. So we're good so far.
Well, just a behind-the-scenes look. Part of the reason why they had so many issues is because they're trying to look for the little tiny green cursor because they don't want to have it be on the screen. But that means they can't see it themselves, and so they don't know where their mouse is, and they just jump off the screen and like, oh no, go back.
Yeah, because I'm doing this just off a PC. I'm using a program to remove my mouse cursor from the. Oh, super. What is this? Full engage. I'm using a program to remove my mouse cursor from the capture so you can't see it. But if I was doing it for a full production, their technology that they're using to make a full television-style production doesn't allow them to do that because it's not designed for video games. So instead what they do is they make this tiny little green dot in their cursor. And you just can't see it. You can't see Ninja either. Full focus on the dive. Ninja has to bail out, and Monster can dive all the way through, but there's the aquatic shield. She's out. It takes the barrel bomb from Dan to find the kill, and he will double kill to you on the dive. Super's here as well as water rains out the damage. They've got to trade back in the bloodbath, but King Crimson win the fight.
We saw the strengths and the weaknesses of King Crimson right there. People just jumping in and out before ATF had anything to do about it. But at the end, they stayed a little bit too long, and Moxie was taken out because of it. But you see that, you know, just a crazy mobility they're able to get in there, and the fact that you can just use his ultimate to remove the CC from himself, it makes him so powerful and so hard to deal with.
Don't do that to him. Oh, he did. He stole away the Spirit Sentinel, and you once more. He almost takes No Name's life. Very good jungle play from the Nacross.
And by the way, you would expect... Normally, you might think that works. He doesn't expect, but as someone expects, I don't know. But one would expect that the ultimate on Rourke might be a smaller cooldown because it only kind of buffs himself and kind of makes him stronger, but it's a really, really long cooldown because it's so powerful in removing that CC and allowing him to get in those fights.
Look at this poke though. Well, up top.
Oh.
We don't catch it. Junko Fox gets a kill and then dies underneath the tower. But you can just see the poke game here. From this double front line, the arm in particular makes it so hard to get in. So the Abyssal Dragon can be taken with absolutely no consequences. Super having no respect as you goes in. Ninja knocked below half HP. And the shock and all with a stare and effect. Super goes down for it, but that's an entirely acceptable trade. Youngly will get credit for the kill, but the tower itself will be focused. Metamorphosis needs to be spent. Ninja gets it off, keeping the tower up.
In the end, that's a good metamorphosis to keep him away. Moxie, went the wrong way.
Yeah, a little bit of a dive in onto the tanky crash. That allows No Name to access the back line. Name goes down quite quickly.
You know, I was about to mention that Yorn is... You know, you talk about backline marksmen, and they're not very mobile, but... Yorn is almost like completely immobile, and it makes it so that even arm stuns can hit him. But you know, in that particular instance, I guess it didn't really matter as far as No Name was concerned because he's able to just jump on the Wisp. So there's levels of immobility. Yorn is the worst of them all, but certainly Wisp can get caught out as well.
Yorn is borderline a tower.
Exactly.
Is that man just needs to stand still and think about almost everything he does.
Exactly, and that makes the uncage from Suba so much more devastating because Yorn's like, wait a second, I can't just stand here and attack. There's these beasts coming at me. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Ninja with the bail, aquatic leap takes him out. Those barrel bombs from Dan have been perfect. They keep finding these sick little stuff.
Yeah, there was a buff on that. Actually, never mind. So goodbye, you guys.
Ninja Thunderbird. The aquatic leap saves him again. But they do lose their Yorn. They will lose this tower as Dan just rolls up to clean it up.
This is unbelievable rotations here by King Crimson, just using their comp to the best of... basically just capitalizing on their comp to the best of their ability because they clear out the mid wave, so they lose nothing by having 4 members in the bot and putting all that pressure on. Meanwhile, ATF has to clear that out, and they just lose everything. They lose on all fronts.
Yeah, I did a VOD review of RPL games on my Twitch channel the other day, twitch.tv/EsportsTj. And I was examining how the top teams in Silent are just controlling their map pressure, and it's not dissimilar to this. Ninja pops the Metamorphosis, very far forward. Moxie just has to bail, and No Name's an easy cleanup as Ninja goes too far forward. Now the turn comes through, and RC are in full control. King Crimson just need to keep this push going. Poor Ninja. Hovered a little bit long though. Now they've got Junko Box to take the lead, clear the way. King Crimson can't keep going. You actually leans underneath the tower, eats several tower shots and a full focus. The tables have turned. King Crimson need to get out.
A little bit of an overextension there from King Crimson, but what I was about to point out is that it's very easy to control the map when you have you taking 1v2 fights like that and winning them.
Guardian has the backup of you. There's the dire blow, though. JunkoFox annihilates him from the map, and you can't quite chase him down.
Junko looks at you and says, "You have CC immunity. I have complete immunity with this dire blow. Get wrecked, son."
It's a really satisfying ability count. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think the top Astrid. This is part of the reason why you see these Astrid mains in these games, because she can be absolutely devastating in the right hands. The problem is if you play Astrid too much, the opponent is able to kind of read the way that you engage, and they're able to avoid the dire blows. But for those unaware of her ability to do that, they can get completely thrown off guard.
Super might be too far forward, but I hesitate to call it, because every time I've thought he's too far forward, it's turned into an amazing team fight, because he is playing Aram.
Right. The only way you can really kill Super is with the Yorn and Jelly, really not pronounced, but having a really hard time just getting on top of her.
Ninja into tank the fight, I think, trying to bait out that snare. They'll bring No Name in instead. Raid boss, kind of. Guardian split up as well. Ninja spends the Metamorphosis in mid, but they're not going to get anything from that. Kind of questionable ult cast, to be honest. Now they need this wave to be successful, but the shock and awe is still up. That means the wave is cleared instantly. ATF get nothing on the push.
Are they going to catch out No Name here? Because he is in the midst of their jungle.
Super nearby snare lands. Super was just sitting on that snare for exactly this moment. There's no way to save him, though Ninja tries. Now this means the Abyssal Dragon's a pretty easy pickup. JunkoFox is in the area. Can't contest in time. He'll end up 1v3 now. Ninja in the area, but the dire blow is only going to keep him up for so long as you picks up 1 more, 2 more. It is like third double kill of the game.
So a dire blow in that situation can be a really good way to bait the entire team. Unfortunately, the cavalry was not coming and he just died. And that can be problematic, obviously, if you're just kind of feeding and stringing together deaths for the opposing team.
This has been a really good performance from King Crimson. They've looked very synced across the map. Their team
tower has been destroyed.
God, almost exclusively led off of individual skill, and that's been fun to see.
Yeah, talking about sync, you look at you and Dan in the bottom lane there. The shotgun auto slow everyone down, and then followed up by the ult there from you to finish people off. Very good play all around. I have to completely agree there.
And we've seen some star plays from ATroubledFew. Ninja, and I'm not just saying that because they were nice, has been playing really well on the Crashed. JunkoFox up in the top lane has been doing a really good job as well. But it feels like they just got too far behind during the early game, and now they need to hold on for so long to catch up.
I have to half agree with you on Ninja. I think the play earlier was good, but she's been getting flustered lately. Oh, hello.
Guardian caught out, snare through, Super to turn. This is devastating. JunkoFox's dire blow doesn't do nearly enough. Ninja's too far forward, even with the Metamorphosis. They're gone as well, and you cleans up a complete team ace with a dive behind the tower. There's literally nobody left on the map. That should be the high ground's gone, as well as map 1. A very strong performance.
Tower has been destroyed.
Yeah, ATF didn't even let me finish my statement there, which was that they were getting a little bit flustered. Unfortunately, they showed it all too much in that last fight there, kind of just jumping into a team fight that they never should have taken, and that cost them the game.
So, coming out, I must say that I want to see a slightly better draft from ATroubledFew. I don't think that's what lost them the game, but it certainly didn't help. And then I'd also, and we can see this here on the stats screen, love to see a little bit of a better performance from their carry. Because Youngly, and I hate to put everything all on one player because it may not be his fault that he was behind, but one way or another the team wasn't able to support him enough, and he ends up 1-5-2 with the second least gold on the team, not counting the support.
The Yorn pick was just questionable from the beginning. And we were wondering about that right when it was picked, especially going against Necroth. And not only did the Yorn not work against Necroth, it didn't even work really in the 2v2 in the bottom lane. So that, I think the pick just needs to change, because we didn't see some crazy, maybe we were thinking the Yorn could be this one trick, or not a one trick, but like a Yorn main where he plays extremely well and kind of proves the casters wrong, but we saw none of that, and unfortunately we were validated.
Yeah, I feel validated, but I do that anyway.
At the expense of others. At the expense of others, though.
I feel great validation, and I don't even need other people to back me up. Let's... do we have our next game lobby ready to go, or?
Looks like we do. Yes.
Oh, yeah, we do. Sorry, I'm just copying and pasting it. Normally, like, my reflex is just to go, let's go to a quick break. Mostly because I like saying the words "quick break." That's honestly 90% of esports casters, though. Like, whenever someone throws to a break, it's not because they need it. Just
because they like saying the words.
They want to say those words.
Okay.
All those times in chat, you were like, come on, just start the game, stop talking. You were right. It wasn't that the casters were filling to make sure that the broadcast started with gameplay. It was that they just really liked the sound of their own voices, and they wanted to keep talking.
I know I do. I think I was when we were in England together, and I was watching my own videos. You were like, "How do you watch yourself?" I'm like,
"Yeah, You have the ability to review videos of yourself casting and enjoy it, and I do review videos of myself casting because it makes me better at casting. But I don't do it willingly." Because even when I'm, like, happy with how well the cast went, I'm still
He's always a
listening
broken
to the sound of my own voice and watching my own body. And that's, rough.
TJ's just, like, broken man when he watches his own cast. He's like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? This is the worst cast ever. I'm like, it's a pretty good cast right there.
You have so much more optimism. I don't get it.
Yeah. Only when it comes to me, though.
You're only optimistic about it. Right. We do have all 10 players in the lobby. I am going to get lynched for saying that, by the way. Like, other casters are going to come to my house and be like, we almost had explained it to Twitch chat that we're just filling until the game starts and we're not delaying the broadcast. And then you lie.
In some of my more kind of casual Hearthstone broadcasts, when we have massive breaks and I didn't know what's going on, I'd be like, all right, we're going to Talkstone, which is what they call it in chat when you're in a Hearthstone game and they're like stalling between games or just talking an inordinate amount. So we're like, we're just going to Talkstone here, if that's okay with you guys. And then the next like 20 minutes of waiting is just us talking. And
it's a podcast.
And
at that
yeah, basically just a between games podcast.
Could call it something to do with the game. Like,
I was trying to think of something.
You know?
Dive the tower.
Yeah, I like that. I like the sound of that. That's really good. We should do something like that sometime, you know?
Sometime in the future, when we have time.
We do literally have all 10 players in the lobby, which means we've got ourselves our first draft screen. It is game number 2 after ATroubledFew lost that game 1. I'm just doing like a little recap thing so that I can stall out till the first ban comes through, because then we can talk about the draft. But if you don't want me to do that, it's over to you, Daniel. You can start talking whatever. Look, I did it. There's the first ban.
I know you have your set ways, and you're like, when the draft starts, you're like, I need to say these words, and I need to say them now. I just wanted to point out the overarching kind of theme here, which is that King Crimson have been waiting to get in this tournament for a long time, and they kind of showed why in that first game. They were pretty good.
No, it was really slick performance from King Crimson. We did have very set. We wanted them to improve the draft over on the ACF side, and we did think that they could have a much better performance if they did that. So I'm looking for that to change. However, this draft phase, I'm not terribly optimistic because they did just ban Nacroth over Darcy, and I don't feel like that's worth it.
It might be worth it if they really are focused on getting that backline. If they really just need to have that backline marksman to be successful, then perhaps that they want to go for. But Natalia, geez. TJ, this is where I need to go back and okay, never mind. Good, they're not picking Natalia. I did a bunch of tests on Darcy's ult to see if the new ult would affect people. If it says untargetable in the description, then they get pulled back, but they don't get damaged by it. If it says immune to CC or what have you, then they actually get purged from the ult and they're able to get away. And then I was looking at Natalia's ult and I was like, oh geez, which is it? I don't know which one it is. So I was getting flustered a bit there, sorry.
Well, you don't need to be flustered any longer because it's a Liliana and an Arduin as the first two picks. Actually, if you could get flustered again real fast, that is Jungle Darcy with the Tulin tanking mid, presumably, Arm and support. Wonder Woman being locked in. Roxy is the player we were waiting on. They have been subbed in for Youngly, who was playing ADC in the bot lane last game. So maybe that will make a little bit of a change. Back with their core roster.
I would say that was the weak point of their team, so this could make a pretty big difference. And I think that King Crimson needs to be on top of the game once more. They can't take their opponents lightly. And if I were them, I would make sure that we finish the 2-0.
How do you feel about
Darcy?
How do you feel about Jungle Wonder Woman these days?
I don't. There's a reason things go in and out of the meta, and I think there's a reason in particular why Wonder Woman went out of the meta. The big frontline beefy jungler is just not nearly as powerful as just having the complete burst assassin that can take out your backline. And they're not going to have that, and it's going to be problematic, in my opinion.
Well, that seems to be where we're headed, because the bans... If this Ryoma ban comes through, actually it does leave it somewhat up to chance, because this is something I was actually talking about during a League of Legends tournament the other day. Flex drafting. You draft a Wonder Woman who could be jungle or could be side lane. Then it makes the other team kind of think twice about everything they're on, because they can't prep for any specific role to ban out.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, picking a Wonder Woman for side lane still has the benefit of faking out your opponent and forcing them to consider whether or not it's worth banning junglers.
I mean, theoretically, they do have two flex heroes. Arduin can flex from the side lane to the support, but it's not the best flex in the world. I'd rather have just see Arduin in that side lane. So you're basically if you move Wonder Woman to the side lane, all of a sudden you have like a weaker support, in my opinion, and you don't really have a basis for having that in the first place. So in theory, yes, in this particular situation, I think might not be the best idea.
Yorn coming through for that bot lane AD carry role. They'll be playing into a lot of mobility, but presumably what we saw last game with Wisp, they hovered Slims, something as a direct counter to them down there. So I don't really see a difference from the last game. Sure, you got rid of the Nacroth, but it's Darcy. And Darcy is just as good at taking out the very immobile Yorn.
Yeah, if you stand there for even one moment, he scoops you up with that dimensional portal, and you are donezo. Unless they pick Chognar here, and you know how I feel about Chognar.
Yeah. You're not a big fan of the Elephant Boy. Would not prevent poaching.
Not at all. Especially, he's an evil elven. That's all he talks about. The Void.
He's really
big
nice.
Evil.
The Void is very nice. Annette or Alice, though, are hovered, both of which would make you a little bit more happy. I'd like the Annette, because then at least you theoretically have the tools to stop a dive.
You know what I was thinking about? I love how they're sorry to cut you off. I love how they're hovering the Alice in theory, because if you have a marksman going with Alice, then you use your friendship and the marksman can kite really fast. And then they remember, wait, Yorn literally doesn't move. So never mind. Anyway, sorry, that made me chuckle a little bit.
The crashed isn't bad at all as interrupt method either, and we did see decent crash play from Ninja last game. So, ideal team fight for ATroubledFew starts with full engage from crashed, then you have the Yorn to follow, Wonder Woman stuns, Arduin stuns. What I like that's different is they have a beefier line than last time. What I dislike is that most of their mobility and late game damage is going to have to come from Yorn Wonder Woman. And that's
Yorn
putting a
Liliana,
lot of
I guess.
emphasis on the Yorn because the Wonder Woman doesn't scale super well outside of maybe the ultimate.
Yeah, we talked about this last game too. That this is almost the exact same comp that they're running in order to make this work. And it's just, it didn't work last game. I have a hard time thinking that it'll work this game. I suppose they don't really have the fear of Necro jumping on you, but Darcy can be just as frustrating to deal with as well.
So I don't know.
Last thing I want to point out. Sorry. Last thing I want to point out is we have a Tara. Tara was considered complete trash here before this last patch. I was actually kind of swayed by one of the contributors on my own website, which is D2AoV.com. Since you pointed out your stream, I get to say mine.
What website is that?
D2AoV.com. Anyway.
Hang on, is that D2AoV.com?
Yes. Anyway.
Right.
So anyway, there was a contributor by the name of Shyster Nick, who posted a Tara guide and provided some ridiculous Tara play in some of the clips that he showed, just completely destroying, the Iries and the Varuses of the world. And that was pre-buff. So I was already ready to just, move Tara way up the tier list that I have. And then she got super buffed. On top of that, she gets 60% slow on her first ability, and she heals for 9% of her lost HP rather than 6%. And now she's an absolute beast. She is legitimately way up there in the tier. She completely destroys people in the side lane, in particular, heroes and Margin. So it's going to be really interesting to see Tara finally be in competitive play.
Minions will be deployed in 5 seconds.
I played against Tara the other day, who absolutely bodied me.
Prepare to engage.
So I'm ready for this crackpot conspiracy theory to come true.
Crackpot?
Okay. Uncracked pot. Very sound pottery. Very good clay working. They used a kiln. And it was good kiln.
Yeah,
high quality kiln.
No one's destroying this pot. It's very solid.
Not the Legend of Zelda. High quality pots. Can't throw them across the room.
Yeah,
Broken tackle.
My strength is analysis, and I can't analyze this right now.
I knew you missed me. Ninja's in trouble in the early game as Super's just trying to base him out. But she'll play back. Let's draw our eyes down towards the bot lane though, because there was a swap out here. Water now playing in the bot lane. And we do need to see a better ADC performance than the last game where the York was pretty thoroughly shut out.
Right, and he has the same support partner here, and we already see a rotation here coming in from 4 members.
Uh-oh. Ninja out, barely, but the portal landed. How's that up so early? The dimensional portal is there, and it's a cleanup as you gets an opening kill. Water survives, staying safe. Now Bracelets through. Super's quite low, but Roxy can't win that fight by themselves, and Water's just hard split from the action, leaving Roxy to dive behind the tower, and they barely don't make it. They're still really low HP across the board though, and No Name can come through and clean up. A nice little blinding light, shining light combo. Dance overstayed his welcome as well. Could be punished for it. Barrel bomb went wide, but Ninja's slowed by the stun from Super's Uncaged.
Very well done here from Super to make sure that Dan gets out of there alive. That is Super's job. He saw Super the entire time just not being worried about dying because he knew that it was his job in order to be as tanky as humanly possible. Didn't run away, made sure that he got his beast to get in there and get the most healing possible.
Oh, I did a Valor series.
You went in the corner.
Yeah.
Let's look at these rocks.
Very nice.
These are some nice rocks.
The hard part is, it's really disorienting when you do that. Because you're like, oh, where am I? Anyway, Abyssal Dragon got things up.
Are we still in Antares?
Ninja, by the aforementioned rocks, is a little bit too far forward. B-Water's trying to bail, but now the shock and all comes through, coupled with a Thunderbird. They're just gone. Metamorphosis was spent. Ninja wants to kill.
Mukti?
I don't think you can make that happen. Ninja might even have gone too far forward.
Mukti was extremely low. The 10 just doesn't care. Super taking the tower damage. That is a proper support for you fellas. You see, he didn't even need to chase on the trash. All he needed to do was stay in the general vicinity. He was going to take that tower shot, and Dan was able to finish off the job.
That was a nice little mid-pick that came through from No Name, though. Lands a sick little combo with the Riki shot, shutting down you. It doesn't matter how much HP you have, the Riki shot will still hurt, but now they get a little bit over-aggressive. Mukti will be able to stay ahead of that same Riki shot. And No Name has to bail all the way back behind tower and all the way back to base.
I think it was trying to iframe the Reiki shot, which doesn't really work because it locks onto you until it detonates or fizzles. So that didn't work out, but able to get away from it at the end, which I suppose is fine.
I was so sure they'd have no problem. They're super full mobility. What could go wrong? And then they had a problem staying away from that Riki shot. I had a big oh no moment.
Yeah, you think playing in Sulan, you think that the lightning strike is up every 2 seconds, but there is a charge time if you use all 3. So, or a cooldown time, I should say.
Format focus, all 4 tagged by the Uncaged. Super has complete vision of that bush, by the way.
Like, hi, I see you. Actually, you don't really get vision, but you do get the satisfaction from hitting 4 people.
I know that this is a strong focus towards this Abyssal. I don't know what they'll do about it. They do have only 2 players here to counter on the King Crimson side. Super's just kind of bullying this fight. Dan and others both trying for a steal, but they can't make it happen. Barrel bomb in with the shock and awe. It's not a bad combo, but Super's too far forward. He'll be chased hard down by the Metamorphosis. The kill is quite easily confirmed. Now this 3-man duo looking for Mukti. I say duo because Roxy kind of peels off. Goes and does some jungle, and that takes the bite out of their punch.
But is Roxy going to get punished here is the question.
Maybe. A little bit far forward. Portal's active. Dan in the area as well. There's the portal. Roxy tagged back. Ninja as well. Mukti's there for the dive. Deep in with the recast just for full damage. And Water only has an answer. That'll be a kill onto Dan. Not bad at all. Junko Box up top actually has Guardian with the cull going in. If that wasn't a Tara, they'd be in trouble.
I'm actually a bit disappointed in Guardian over here in the top lane. I saw her recall back to base earlier, and as Tara, you literally never call to base ever because all of your abilities heal you, even the one that's not your ultimate. And you also like to be low in health. The lower health you are, the more dangerous you can be and just take out your opponent rather than having to mess around and be a warrior, right? You just burst them down. So, interesting that they're losing the fighting in box and providing lots of the difference here in this game.
As a Tara, if you go back to base, you may not be losing, but you are emotionally defeated.
I'm just like, opposed on like moral grounds for Tara ever go. And she just used heal. You see this? Just use heal.
Can we revoke their Tara license?
Yes, I really want to. I'm sorry. This just makes my feelings hurt.
Oh my
and I'm
Lord.
just a Tara apprentice as well. I'm not a Tara master, I'm a Tara apprentice, but I've learned at the altar of a master Shyster Nick, and I bet he'd watch this as well. He'd be like, "What is happening?"
Tower has been destroyed.
No Name survived that mid push by the tiniest of margins. He does lose his tower though. Junko Box and Roxy are in the area to try and fight, but it's a 2v3. They should go for this. They should win this, but it's good so far. Roxy shutting one down with the bracelets, now committed to the lasso. With Ninja and Fox in the area, they've just seen the portal, so Metamorphosis can't come through, and it's gotta be a fallback here from King Crimson. ATF back in charge.
Those of you at home, take note. This is how you deal with a dimensional portal. You don't run away like you normally would think you would do, because obviously you're going to get teleported back. If you are the support, you want to stun the Darcy so that he cannot use his dimensional cube, and that's exactly what they're able to do. You can get the follow-up, and therefore they're able to get away scot-free.
Now the focus towards the bot lane. Dan might be overwhelmed. This could be a strike back in game 2 as Dan's forced to fall very far back. And a nice little hard shot from Water does connect. Super's got to play this carefully. I know he's almost unkillable, but a Yorn will contest that as Guardian loses the top lane battle to the Yuka.
Extremely well done by B-Water on the bottom there. Beautiful hard shot and gets away from the tower range just in time. Super cannot pick up the kill by using the snare there. And all of a sudden, this is a complete reversal from last game. ATF putting on the hurt to the tune of 2,500 gold lead.
Yuka might have overstayed their welcome. Thunder burst through. It's not even a scratch. That'll buff out. Proxy wants to turn. Doesn't full commit. In the meantime, Dan does finally shut down No Name, playing very, very far forward in the enemy jungle. B-Water might be caught out as well. That could actually be disastrous. B-Water's the last player from a 3-man squad, and the flicker, that gets him out. Oh my god, he stays ahead of the barrel bomb and almost gets behind this tower in a marathon across the map. Roxy, in the meantime, is trying to stay ahead in this portal. Does so with a flicker. Got Moxie low, but I'm not sure he can win this ball. The bracelets are too late, and Yunko can't chase Moxie past you.
Baited and outsmarted by Moxie and you there. Moxie made sure that Roxy stayed in the area, but that meant you just landed the most beautiful of dimensional portals. Actually, the funny thing is, you would think that the shield helped the Wonder Woman there, but actually you get more damage resistance prior to the shield, so it actually would have been better to actually take the full dimensional cube before the shield went up, because you have 50% damage resistance. Kind of a weird mechanic there. Yep.
Make me say a lot.
The more you know.
We should have a podcast where you share the things. No? Nah, it's a bad idea. Ninjas are in the area. Here's the Missile Dragon. Super and Dan both on the corner. B-Water's here, so this is like sketchy. I wouldn't be confident because it could go either way. Super Wolf play. Metamorphosis tags Dan, and almost the entire King Crimson side quite low. And there's the lasso. Super pulled back in, but the blinding light quite bracelets will land though. And they're so low, but safely behind the tower. King Crimson will survive and even turn on to No Name. Thunderbird does not connect, but you will. Deep through the entire team. They're both far forward. Super land snare. It doesn't save them. Portal doesn't connect. And Yuka Fox wants the tower dive. They'll go full in. Guardian's the only player on strong defense with full HP. They'll now challenge Roxy in the bush and pay for it as the Yorn damage is there in space. Shock it all. Does catch out Ninja though, and that should be the turn. Surely ATF can't push this tower down a player, but they'll prove me wrong. Water with a full stun combo. This Yorn's online. That lasso is as well. A good bracelet intervention from Roxy, and the tower's low. They've gotten the kills. ATF are in this game.
I think we've gone full LATAM. It has been confirmed. There hasn't been a single hero in meta top for the longest time. And after all this, yours gonna go down anyway, it seems like. Nope, just kidding. Oh my goodness, DJ. What in the world was that fight? There were so many opportunities for both teams to take advantage, but the coordination just was not there. They kept going in one at a time and getting picked off and getting punished. And honestly, I don't want to besmirch these teams because they're doing a very good job overall, but this just goes to show you the difference between the very, very top teams and how hard it is to be so coordinated. It's very easy to see an opportunity, go in and realize your team is not there, and then you just die and you're like, team, where are you? And then the opposite happens, and yeah, it's hard sledding, guys, for these teams.
Lasso, Moxie in trouble, bracelets, it's wide. Super in the meantime, it's the backlines. Yunko Fox needs to defend. Roxy's in a lot of trouble. Super pumps the ring of the beat and just keeps going, eventually snaring Ninja, who's not the ideal target, but they almost make it work anyway, till the turn comes through. Massive damage, and No Name's there for the front line, but they've already lost 3 ATF members. The 2 they got in trade are not enough. B-Water gets a tower. That may be positive overall, but it's a scary trade for ATF.
If I had a production team, I would really want to bring up that last fight because that was insane. Just explosions everywhere. We had dimensional cubes landing on multiple heroes. We had a Reiki shot coming out, I think multiple times as well there. Just everyone clumped up in one location, and it was fireworks.
I said at the start of this stream, yeah, no, one of the reasons I'm doing this, I really want to practice my team fights. You got me. Thanks, PVL teams. You got my back. You got lots of team fights.
I was thinking the opposite. Like, how in the world do you say what's happening there? Because it was just a hodgepodge of explosions and madness. But as always, you get a professional, and you can do his job.
I just called the result. I don't know what happened in the middle of all that. Mostly Darcy particles, but there are just so many, especially in this game. Like, Darcy and Tulin have infinite explosion particles. Then you add in, like, Liliana and Wisp.
Yeah, it was just madness on all sides.
There's so much burst damage. And we were saying going into this game that especially the ATF roster was going to be so tanky it wasn't no massive, or it wasn't a big deal. But my god.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that they're so tanky, but if they're all clumping up and trying to be that front line, then all of a sudden you're hitting a huge dimensional cube, you're hitting a huge shock and awe, and not even they can stand up to that.
Super scared back. One thing that drew my eye that last fight, B-Water wasn't with the rest of the team, they were instead pushing Wave down bottom. They win that fight if they have like 10% more damage, B-Water with like 200% more damage.
He has like a very high percentage of their damage, is absolutely correct. But at the same time, you know, if he's caught a little bit off guard, he gets completely, demolished in half a second, and all of a sudden you're not getting the benefit of him split pushing. So hindsight can be 20/20. I'm not sure it would have been overall to their benefit if he was there. I think I'm okay with him split pushing as well.
Ninja stumbles through the jungle, finds like 8
A
people,
red team tower
decides
has
that
been
an arrow
destroyed.
right with that turns around to face. That tower
blue
just melts.
team tower
In the
has
meantime,
been
because of that
destroyed.
knowledge Ninja called, the rest of the map can be a push for ATF, and that's exactly what
A
they
blue
do.
team tower
Pushing
has
top
been
lane, pushing
destroyed.
mid, a tower for free. Very, very cleanly done, especially with Yunko trying to cut this wave as well. They have overestimated how long they can stay, though. Super's in the area, could just land the snare and stall this out forever as the rest of the team tries to catch up. They cancel the snare. Nicely done by Junko. Just trying to get out. Well, Guardians bullied back. A full 5-5 team fight breaks out with a good stun on the front lines from that red. Super knocked quite low. Shock and all is good, but there's so much HP. Lasso and the bracelet and the metamorphosis. They finally take down Super with full HP underneath the tower. Dan's just trying to run as the tower itself falls, and I don't think Dan will get away with it. They do not. Sniped out behind. Guardian underneath the first tower will go down with it, given enough time. It does take a while, thanks Tara. But they will fall. Roxy, the lasso, pulled back by the portal. You wins it. That's incredible. Nicely done, but a short-lived victory.
What in the world? Okay, let's break this down from the beginning. We had two players from both sides trying to cut the wave, and somehow that turned into basically a 5v4, 5v3 team fight that all converged into one spot in the end, as we had Guardian running from one side and Junko Fox running from the other. That turned into a fight that was heavily favored for ATF, but unfortunately Dan couldn't get away to his back tower. All the while, Yu was in mid, kind of just messing around. Rocky saw that, tried to fight him, got taken out, but then he was fighting the entire team. Stuff. Lots of stuff, TJ.
I appreciate your words drew a picture. It was like a Van Gogh. Lots of swirly lines. Very oh, the snare! No name's called out! Thunderbird as well! It does connect! Not enough damage, though.
Yeah, Thunderbird cannot take you down unless you have a lot of lost health. That takes you out for the rest of them, but they want to keep fighting.
Oh my god, Super has second thoughts. Both games so far, he's been like, that's chill, I can wander through full 5-man team, I'm Aram. Now he's like, having to reconsider those decisions.
It's not even full tank build anyway. He also has Frostgate on his side. Or excuse me, Frosty's Revenge.
Super. Knocking off. Roxy was already knocked low, already spent the bracelet. No, nothing from the portal. B-Water quite low, but does survive the fight. This is just a poke battle. There's so many tanks on both sides.
Oh,
Roxy may have overstayed their welcome in mid. Guardians on the chase, the entire ATF side. there to intervene, and you almost two shots, does two shot, no name, now sweeps through for the rest of the fight, Bracelet's back up, Guardian can't finish the kill, you wants to close it though, and one empowered auto could do it, it does, 2, D-Water down as well, that's why you don't let Darcy through the draft.
Darcy was trying to go for the Wonder Woman, but instead hit the Yard, and that turned out to be the correct choice in the end if it had, because he chunked him from 100 to 10% with one single-dimensional walk, and that could very well be games they're able to push this advantage.
Good split push attempt from Junko Box. Realizes they're not relevant to the fight, takes a tower, generates some pressure elsewhere while Ninja holds down the fort. Not a bad decision at all. They will lose a high ground on this, but considering the scale of the team fight they lost, it's not the worst thing that could have happened. They may keep this mid? Nah, empowered auto, dimensional war. Why did I doubt it? Ninja's caught out in that shock and awe as well. This needs to be a brilliant ATF team fight to save the game, but it is possible.
It looks like King Crimson's going to back off for a moment here and kind of reset things. I think that is the correct choice. You are very similar in gold. The one way you throw this game after finding a huge advantage is you just take a fight right now and give the advantage all the way back to ATF. But like you're mentioning, TJ, both these teams have crazy tower killing potential. Wisp and Yorn, two of the best in the marksman category. And then you have Darcy and Liliana as well.
Daniel, they just go for Darkslayer. They just walk up and take the Darkslayer. Just walk up and smack him in the face with Darkslayer. All right. Guardian's here as well for the cutoff. This could get bad. Oh, he actually pays for it. His 8 feet disappears much faster than I thought it could. The Tara, not quite the tank it was built up to be, but with Darkslayer, it will be. Junko Box, too far forward. 3-4 players on him. Tries to cull escape. Roxy's trying to lasso in the meantime. Good bracelets with Metamorphosis. Maybe they can make something out of this. Dimensional Walk from you doesn't do nearly enough damage. They've tried to get the backlight damage in from water, and they do have a decent amount. All this CC, though, is negated by one good portal. Super hit with the snare. Guardian's low, but it doesn't matter because the rest of the fight is dominant for King Crimson. They've already lost water, and nobody goes down on the King Crimson side as they lead up a complete team ace at game number 2.
Double kill!
Very well done. Extremely well coordinated team fight at the end there by King Crimson, and they certainly deserve to move on to the next round.
That was a really good... Sorry. So when we do Valor series, they always do like a music break there. You know, da 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 da. So my reflex is, the game's ended, and it's time to be quiet. And I realized...
Just blast the music will be good.
Oh, hang on. Oh, it's like rock. It's like his rock playlist.
Oh.
Sorry, Curry.
Damn.
Your playlist is great. It's just not what
not exactly what we're looking for. Yeah, exactly. There was one opportunity there at the very end where they could have taken out you, and that could have made a huge difference in the battle. I think they were just a little bit gun shy about moving forward. Obviously, it's very difficult to deal with you because he did a good job of holding on to his dimensional walk. Like, he ran forward trying to hit someone and then didn't use it right away because he realized, like, oh no, I've gone too far, and then started moving back while he was still untargetable, which, by the way, very annoying when you can't actually auto-attack you. But the point is that they had a slight opportunity there, but the Dark Slayer buff ended up being a little bit too much with that healing.
Yeah, this was a really good game. ATF kind of got wiped in game 1. But game number 2 was much better. And the fact that I was in Valor Series mode when we closed is a good sign of quality. That was really fun.
Yeah, we weren't distracted thinking like, oh no, what is going on with games? Like, no, we were in them, and it very much felt like a high quality game. And so that was our instinct at the very end. They're like, oh, let's go to the epic music, and then we'll come out of there.
Well, I don't have epic music. I do have Jury's playlist. We'll sit on it for a few minutes while we get ready for the next game. Don't go far. This second game, Reign versus YugenDynasty, after this. Welcome back. You know what? That's like super formal. Hey! Y'all. We're here with PVL. My name is TJ. Joined by Southern Belle, Daniel D2 Akuta.
Is that what you call people who are from Southern California?
I think Southern Belle is a very specific term that doesn't refer to Californians. I think you have to be
that's
from,
what
like, Alabama or something.
But that's why I was confused, because that's why I was confused, because I'm not actually from those places.
Yeah, but I was visualizing you in a fantastic... Anyway. Welcome back to the PVL. It is Rain facing off against YugenDynasty. We're powering through this moment. You can't stop me. As YugenDynasty return from a very, very close performance in the Valor Series qualifiers. I'm hopeful that this can be kind of a mission statement for them going forward. We have a full lobby, which means we can start whenever. And that means that we have.
Right.
Because I banged on the desk, I assume.
I just remembered, by the way, that I lived in the southernmost main island of Japan for 3 years.
Literally a Southern Belle. Just throwing that out there. You can do this.
And it was a very rural
side.
area.
Rain.
Sorry. Anyway, we can move on.
Stop being distracted by rural areas.
I don't. Hey.
Large rural areas.
I felt like there was some sort of innuendo there, but I'm not sure where.
Anything's innuendo if you try hard enough. That will be a Florentino and a Caffney as our first two bands, staying to the meta. This is a BO3 series. This is actually our first game of round 2. We'll do one other game of round 2 here tonight. And that will close people into the semifinals. Wow, I should have said that so much more confidently because I have the bracket next to me, and I literally knew that was right. Anyone who wins this is in a semi-final, he said confidently for the first time.
Or we could just have the entire cast just be confused and uncertain. Like, is he going for the engage? Did he die? Is all existence eternal?
And also opposing him. Actually, that is wild.
Okay, TJ. Mm-hmm. We need to have this conversation.
All right.
I feel like everyone is being blasphemous in the entire world of AoV, and including in my personal Discord, where they're saying that Elsu is bad. And I am just, my head explode. What is happening with the world?
Right. No. I'll hit you. I'll hit you and Twitch chat with some hard facts. If you're bad with Elsu, that's on you. Elsu as a character is quite good, but you need to be able to land like 100% of the snipes. So just like no one below Plat can play a good Net, no one below Plat can play a good Elsu. Except the skill cap is higher.
There we go. Although people are just really onto Caffney and Hayate just completely shutting him down. Which, that's the thing.
Caffney, you can literally... You know how you can roll your forehead on your screen and you're playing Valheim? Caffney, you can go ahead and put I don't know what triggers a touch screen. Put a touch screen pen with like a weight setup on the attack button and like walk away, and you will win that game.
You know, one of those really old school, one of those birds that continuously like goes back and forth, up and down. Just have one of those, except really, really fast, and that's how you play Caffney. Just always attacking. And Hayate's a fast boy, so there's that.
Let's talk about this draft as opposed to calling people bad. Toonland telling us Baldum over on the YugenDynasty side. I quite like that as a starting lineup. The Telenas a little bit more static, though not as bad as a Yorn, and they have the Baldum to back them up. The Toonland gives them the mobility to dive in, and they've got that Baldum to eat Elsu snipes. Bennett Wonder Woman as that Elsu's backup, though, also really good. We have two solid drafts here.
Yeah, I think a lot of this game is going to come down to who can protect their backline marksman better, because both Telenas and Elsu do ridiculous damage from that backline. Typically, Baldum does a slightly better job because he just kind of gets in the way and is just this ridiculous presence. But Yebeneth, on the same token, can just rough things up with his branching out, all that nonsense. And then in a pinch, obviously, just busts out the Nature's Realm and makes everyone walk in quicksand.
I'm a big fan of the ambush Yebeneth we've seen a bit in pro play recently. You can just throw the Yebeneth out of like a random bush, drop the Nature's Realm, and kill an entire team. In order to do it, you need so much map awareness and setup. You need that Yebeneth to be in the perfect location because the Yebeneth moves so slowly. But if you pull it off, you are so set.
You're gonna have to show me a clip of that because I'm like so confused.
Some of the Thai teams have done this in particular. And it's like not a
everything Thailand does just confuses me though. Like bring Grak into the meta. I was like, what is happening? Anyway. By the way, both teams very specific with their
presentation of Grak is a bad thing.
I didn't. The bands here are very specific and very like reminiscent of some of the top teams that you've seen in these professional matches, going with the strongest bands first and then really focusing in on those assassins there in the second round, which kind of limits what they're capable of doing, and that's pushing YugenDynasty here to go for this Lindis, it seems like.
Yeah, this has been actually a really, really, really good draft phase for both teams. Alistar for that mid, a little bit out of my meta, but certainly viable. Zenial, Lindis. The Zenial in, I assume this will be top lane, isn't something we see a ton of, but I like. I'm much more of a fan of Zenial than the meta, I think. And of course, Lindis I will shill for forever.
So, Rain on the right side here, it's interesting because I think they went too all in on the we are not going to get shut down by an assassin basket of eggs. To finish out that sentence. Because they decided to get rid of the assassins, and I bet they were kind of happy that YugenDynasty helped them out there. And then they went one step further and said, we're going to pick an Alistar to help that out as well. And all of a sudden, you're not looking at an assassin jungler.
So, Amelie, first of all, wow. But second of all, I don't think I agree that this only works against an assassin, because I feel like the majority of the stuns, the slows they have, are to protect the Elsu. And it's worked against an assassin in the draft phase insofar as they didn't have dive drafted against them, and that's a win, because now, if the Elsu hits their snipes, the Elsu wins them the game.
Yeah, if he hits like every single snipe,
that is a sound of pure disbelief.
Okay, Elsu can win a game by himself, but I think that Teleanos. Oh my god, I'm doing the Matt Andrews thing again. Telanius. The Teleanos has really risen in the rankings as far as power is concerned, and they're really doing a good job. Speaking of teams of being able to cover for her while she just blows out that damage, and I think she's on very even terms with the Elsu here, and that means that we're going to have to see a lot from this Alistar in particular in order to even out the Tulin that we see on YugenDynasty. And really, they have like one good target in the Tulin, in the counterpart in Tulin, because you can snag a Zenial or the Bottom, but they're two big beefy boys that will not die so easily. And meanwhile, your team's going to get roughed up because of it. And Lindis and Teleanos are almost never going to be in range for him to snag with that magic prison. So I'm just not seeing a good time here for Alistar.
I think, like I said, Alistar's out of my personal meta, but I think if he can get those close range duels, particularly if he's set up well by the Wonder Woman Yebeneth, he does a lot of damage. They kind of have a double backline ADC thing going. Elsu, Alistar, sit in the back behind a tank,
get ready.
Do a ton
Minions
of work.
Will be deployed
and it's not
in 5 seconds.
Inconceivable that they get their wish, but the setup does have to be perfect.
Prepare to engage.
Lastly, I do want to talk about, again, this Amelie jungle. Amelie has always just kind of been in the, like, constantly in the tier 2, like the second level of heroes, both in side lane and in jungle. But she's very good in that jungle in that she has extra movement speed out of it because of her second ability, the passive on her second ability, and she can heal in between waves or in between farms as well. So she might be able to be okay. Do you have an unknown network error as well?
I do, but I just hit OK and it was like fine. So
the network error truly was unknown.
Okay. They are pushing through with the team. We haven't slide mode very far forward, and it's a good wild charge. They are slowed as well. A bold dive through the turns there from Tristan from Amalius. You can see that Alistair damage working out, but also the ineffectiveness of the Alistair on the chase.
Well, part of the reason why it was ineffective because that was a beautiful play by Valor. He saw the Magic Bear and says, nope, don't want to deal with that one, and popped his flicker to go right over it. Very well done by him.
Serendipity. Now back to the mid lane. So at the end of that, I guess it's a net positive. Sly gets a little bit of gold his way. I guess the invade worked by the checklist. No one even had to go back to base. Now the push will come through on top. What on earth are you doing? Sometimes you're so obsessed with whether or not you can hit a lasso, you don't stop to consider whether or not you should.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was more triggered by the fact that no one took the 219 HP Seagull. Just people just staring at it like, what is that?
Should I hit that Seagull once and collect gold?
It's like invisible? And why is it spelled with... Why is it spelled S-E-A-G-L-E? Which, by the way, is how you spell it. I don't get it.
Abyssal Dragon is the focus now.
Someone kill it! Kill it! Please kill it!
They are auto attacks it, ending his team's aversion to picking up junk. Apart from that Seagull, how's that going for you?
Is this just like heavy BM on the side of Yugen?
They're not going to hit. They're not going to hit. Watch that Seagull. They're just keeping it low. TV's just hitting it every now and then to make sure that it stays in play.
Okay, in this particular situation, I can understand, because you might get a random snipe here from the Elsa that takes it out. But both the Abyssal Dragon earlier and the Seagull prior to that, why?
Hey, as a vegetarian, I support these actions. TV will be under threat here, actually. He's overstayed as well.
What?
Alien Beats is there. How did that happen? Where did it happen, for that matter?
No, he just stood under tower and took 2 shots.
That was in mid.
Yeah, he just stood on the mid tower and decided that rather than be back, it's better for him to just die because that's faster, I guess? I don't know if that was deliberate or not, but it confuses me nonetheless.
He's lagging.
He's lagging? Oh yeah, he's running into the corner. Okay. Well, at least he got executed. That's fine.
Yeah. Not too much lost. Well, gold lost, but not gold gained for the other team.
He's confused, though. I am just staring at this Linus who was just walking in circles and randomly using him. I feel bad.
Executed.
Oh no.
Gets executed in trade. Diving the top tower. Uh-huh.
Well, TV died on the bottom side as well, just by himself, diving a tower. Their entire team just lost the internets. And yet somehow they're still up 1.5k gold.
Tristan's confused. Where'd my team go? Hell, what's going on?
The Lindis is still running in circles. TV's running to the side.
Yeah, TV's got internet issues too. You can see that.
Should we pause the game? I feel like
don't know league regulations. Tristan's just fighting. The man has no fear. He'll go in.
I feel like they want to pause the game, but they can't. No one's connected to say pause the game.
No, they got Tristan and Sly up top playing proper. I think this is like an AoV issue because Serendipity stopped moving as well.
Sly is gonna get executed.
Executed.
So is Tristan, looks
I
like.
assume we're getting a remake at that point.
Are these bots playing right now? But bots don't.
Bots are better than this.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm never gonna say that again. It's a bad,
Alien
bad thing to
Beats
say.
nearly died to the Abyssal, but did take it out.
You can see he's
What is
lagging though,
happening?
because he like can't run out of the Abyssal Pen.
But he's doing it very fast, though. He's running nowhere very, very fast.
Zoom.
Because of the extra movement speed. Let me tell you about the extra movement speed when
Executed.
you're around a wall, as Elsu.
Really? Is that how that works?
Yeah. Valor gets executed.
Executed.
Dude, the towers are just picking up so many kills this game.
Give me a
Towers
flashback.
MVP.
We did. So I don't know if you watched this, but the first tournament I ever did, the first Western AoV tournament, was the non-pro tournament. And we had a whole bunch of YouTubers and like League of, if you know who Ake is, you follow Dota, right? We had like,
No, I
League of
haven't. I'm sorry.
Legends and Dota YouTubers.
I knew
and
Forsen
players.
when he played in that tournament.
Yeah. And anyway, the pro matches, which were all just like
Executed.
YouTubers playing each other, were like this. Because with the exception of Team Sweden, which was like 2 pro Dota players who weren't going to lose anything, even this silly for fun tournament, like half of them had never picked up the game before, like a week prior when they like signed up to do this tournament, because it had just been released in Europe. So like a lot of these people, we were watching them learn the game. It was amazing.
Oh, in chat it says it's a bug for spectators.
Oh, so that little disconnect thing.
Executed.
This is like one of my favorite bugs of all time. All right.
Well, it was fine in the beginning. Like they were playing normally for a while.
So,
But how is this?
A red team tower has been destroyed.
So they just made up a game for us to watch. They're like, this will
incredible.
appease them.
That's
This will appease.
I don't.
This is close enough to the real thing. This will fool them. They won't know the difference.
Thanks, Mr. Tencent. Go, Vaor. Fly like a magical beast.
I just want to see like YugenDynasty going and Rain going back and watching the VOD. Like they're like, what?
We need
I
to
didn't do
take
that.
some notes on how this game played out so that we can figure out what went wrong during the series.
I don't remember doing that at all. Do you remember getting executed?
So, to recap, this game isn't happening. Tencent computers somewhere have gotten very upset and have generated this for us to watch.
Or maybe it's just 10 actual people playing a game just to fool us.
Just
They put that
swapped
much
us?
effort into it.
Got thrown into spectating one of those bot matches you play on your first game.
No, I feel like they put more effort into it. They actually got 10 people to play this out and just provide this artwork for us.
Executed.
Okay, follow-up question. How does this end?
Yeah, what
Do,
if
like,
the game
minions have
ends
to close
before?
this game?
A red team tower has been destroyed.
Well, the question is,
Uh-huh.
does the game end when this
Executed.
game ends or when the pro game ends?
Oh, when the actual game is being played ends, do you think it ends the game that we're watching?
I would imagine so. Although we're not really
Stop.
connected to it, so.
They've all stopped. Daniel.
Wait.
This is eerie. They're all
Wait,
frozen
Jerry,
in
can
place.
you watch? Jerry, you're in the game, right?
Yeah, I'm just staring at nothing.
Oh my god.
So all the spectators have been messed up. We should go to the lobby and ask them if they're still playing.
No, they're all standing in place now.
No,
Looks
right. No, but we've determined it's a spectator bug.
We'll hop in for map number 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with map number 2 after a break, which I think is the only way to accurately communicate what I'm witnessing right now. Lightning fast tech issue. We'll pick up at map 2, assuming that they're pretty close to ending map 1.
A blue team tower has been destroyed. A blue team tower has been destroyed. A blue team tower has been destroyed.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, I think. Wow, that was scary. Because not only was I trapped in a game with like all these creepy robot versions of players that weren't moving. Also, I couldn't leave. My name's still TJ. Me and Daniel D2AoV both survived that experience. We now have game 2 and the lobby ready to go. How are you doing?
I was suddenly reminded of an old clip. I don't know if the chat knows Destiny, who played StarCraft 2, but there's a clip of him when I forgot how he did it, but he trapped someone in and killed them all with banelings, and he says, "You can't leave," and that's how I felt like when I couldn't leave the game.
Yeah, I know what StarCraft is, and therefore I got your joke totally.
Nice. It's a streamer
I wasn't old
named
enough
Destiny.
to play video games when StarCraft was popular. I'd just like to drop that in there.
It was like 8 years ago. Anyway.
I was 10. You think a 10-year-old could play StarCraft?
How are you eternally 18? Can I get that eternal youth elixir that you have? That is
October.
You're cheating.
Turn
You're cheating
to
at life.
ban.
A little bit, yes. All right, Caffeine Florentino Gilder. Oh, yes! The bad phase. YugenDynasty did pick up map 1 off stream. Of course, that bug we just experienced didn't actually affect their play. It was just something special that Tencent cooked up for the spectators, and they were fine. They played their game out as usual.
And YugenDynasty won pretty handily considering how quickly the game ended.
I just noticed that my scoreboard
Team's turn
isn't
to
lined up
pick.
with the middle.
It's a couple pixels off.
Wow, how did I not notice how triggering that is? All right, I'm aware.
Well, Tobias, he called you out on it in chat.
Yeah, he did, and I appreciate his sacrifice because he did what must be done.
Red team's turn to pick.
Is this because we maybe called out Tobias at the Valor Series finals?
Probably.
Or did that happen? We've talked about this before in drafting strategy. If you leave multiple strong heroes up, you get some of those strong heroes when it's your turn to draft. And Rain decided they want to have Elsu, which gives Hayate and Darcy over to YugenDynasty, and this could be problematic.
Yeah. YugenDynasty win this early draft phase with the Gilder and Zil bans. Elsu, Arduin against them. I think Arduin, Jinnar, yeah, I think building a ton of tanky boys is probably your best bet into Darcy Hayate.
Yeah, just getting their face as much as possible. That's what Jinnar is so good at doing. One of the reasons why we haven't seen Jinnar as much as of late is because he gets completely shut down by Sephra. And I'm talking, usually when I talk about one hero being a counter to the other, I say it in terms of soft counter, right? Because you can't really hard counter anyone anymore, but that is one of the few cases of a hard counter in the Sephra versus Jinnar matchup. And fortunately for Rain here, they don't have to go against Sephra, at least not yet.
At least not yet.
What
is this draft, by the way? Because all of the powerful characters got through, but only on one team. YugenDynasty as well.
We'll take them all, thank you very much.
What world do we live in where it's Hayate, Darcy, Richter, and the other team is Elsu, Jinnar?
The Jinnar isn't necessarily a bad pick in this situation.
Neither is Baldum. They're both very, very nice, respectable boys. I would absolutely go out for drinks with them. But
it very much reminds me of when we saw Dino Riders go against BM Gaming, right? And you look at Dino Riders' roster and you're like, this is perfectly fine. And then you look at the other side, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
So,
like, I'd go out for drinks with
Red
them,
team's turn
but
to
this
ban.
Baldum, this Jinnar are currently attending a high-class cocktail party, and they didn't bring nearly enough money for the fundraiser.
Oh no. You know what happens when they do that. They also missed their ban, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why bother? What is there left to ban?
What have we been doing with our lives anyway?
Well, I mean, rather seriously, what would you ban? Like, what is there that you absolutely can't let get through? Because I guarantee you, YugenDynasty have already got it.
Red team's turn to pick.
Yeah, seems like that's the case. They do go for the Morin, which actually is that's a sneaky good ban. Because with how fast the YugenDynasty team is going to start, if they're able to have any sort of late game, other than the late game that they basically already have, it's basically over. So, it's reasonable. And they decided they were listening to the broadcast. They're like, oh, you know who counters Jinnar?
Sephra comes through just to continue building the ultimate roster on the YugenDynasty side. RM Rourke, again, if you cover the right side of your phone screen monitor right now, this draft looks fine. If you take your hand off the right side of your phone screen, all of a sudden you
slowly
see what it's up against. And
no, slowly. Don't do it all at once. Reveal one hero at a time, otherwise your brain might.
But like,
team's
it's a
turn
fine draft.
to pick.
Rourke Aram, fun duo. You got the Jinnar Baldur Aram for like this core tanky boy duo that's gonna rush in while the Elsu hangs out behind and reins in the damage. They get Lindis as well. God.
The one downside of
Sure,
Yugen
tell me a
Dynasty's
downside.
roster is they're very squishy.
Mm-hmm.
Their support is Sephra, and their kind of beefy side laner, as it were, is going to be Richter. And he's not exactly beefy. He has iframes, but he's not going to be like, you know, a side lane Baldur or what have you. So this is going to be, if Rain can stall this out for a long time, and they get like a proper 5v5 team fight and just bum rush them, then they don't really have the frontline heroes to hold them off.
10
That's
seconds
a huge if,
remaining.
though. That's like 3 ifs put into 1 if. That's why I said if 3 times.
This is maybe the greatest AoV roster I've ever seen come through a fair draft phase. It's like actually insane that they got all of that over on the YugenDynasty side. Like you say, there's the possibility they're too squishy. I'm keeping an eye on the Elsu. You were talking about this melee rush up front. That could be scary. I'm actually looking at the Elsu. If Alien Beats is landing his snipes and we go late game, he will one-shot 90% of the enemy team. Maybe that Hayate beefs up enough that he can survive it, but like that's it. He'll one-shot.
I'm actually going to be looking at the Jinnar to see if he can get a really good ult. Because when you're playing Sephra as a support, her healing is based on how much ability power she has, and she's not going to have as much ability power in the support lane. So you can't just pop Tides of Life and heal your entire team from a Jinnar ult. You can only really save yourself. So that can be a really big instance there. And we'll have to see if Sly decides to save his dimensional portal for the exuberance so that he just sends it right back from where he came from.
Get ready. Minions will be
I
deployed
want to see
in 5 seconds.
a spicy combo from that Fortress
Prepare
Rush.
to engage.
I'm just not sure I fully believe in it. We'll see. Full
We are
mobility,
seeing...
it's all damage over on the Yugen side.
Okay, Tobias in chat is trying to mess with my head. They were saying Darcy support, but of course, the Winston does go over to Sephra.
Darcy
No
support.
crazy
I'm
shenanigans.
gonna try that. It's gonna happen.
It's actually possible. If you think of his dimensional walk as similar to the passive on Joker, you basically just run around and slow people all day. Not the worst thing ever. It's just a really bad use of the Darcy character in general, because you could be doing so much more with him.
Soul on to Sly. There's the stun. Oh, they might make it work. He's so very low, but the stun comes through, and now the rest of the team is here. Limp Soul is chased. 2 bars, surely 1 kill. No, 2, and he gets away with it. Limp, are you kidding me?
That was beautiful. You never expect the Rourke to come out of nowhere at level 2 and try to take you out, but it worked perfectly there. Took out the Darcy when he didn't have his dimensional walk up. Wow, that was really good tactics there from Rain.
Up top, things get banned for Serendipity, but they're in Aram, so even level 1, they'll take the hits and roll with them. This suddenly is looking real good for the roster we just spent a lot of time predicting doom and gloom for.
Well, if they can pull off things like that, they have the tools in a way. Again, they're going off against a ridiculous roster, but they have what it takes in order to take some of these fights, in particular the Rourke. If Rourke can get up into the faces of Yugen Dynasty, then he can start to take out fools left and right. But the problem is getting there in the first place.
Abyssal Dragon. The next focus, an entire focus from Yugen. They'll get it, no chance. Insults in again, but this time I'm not sure he's damage determination spent. Slide pulled forward, but oh my god, TV has the damage. Full ult comes through, and it's a clean wipe. It was good while it lasted. Hayate hit level 4.
He did hit level 4. He did jump in there with that beautiful ult, hitting multiple heroes. And the thing with Ayante is, if you use his ult on a bunch of members, typically one of two things will happen. Either he dies immediately because he jumped into 4 people, or everyone else dies. And unfortunately for Rain, it was the latter.
Very fortunately for Yugen, though, as everything they were just worried about, maybe a little bit of a goal difference in the early game, is evaporated. They have the kill lead, they have the gold lead, and dominantly so.
And like we were mentioning, this is a nightmare if you are Rain, because you really wanted to have that early game on this road, just tearing up the squishy front line. But it's hard to get to the front line if the front line is constantly running away from you, and that is what YugenDynasty is good at.
TV beats a ratings board. Scoutsy and Alien Beats dive in real hard. Oh, and what is this? The Jidar Exuber is blown. Vayor and Slayer in the area, but Wild Prison will chase down one Tides of Life from Vayor. Some damage. Alien Beats quite happy. Sits in the back line, though rains in the damage. He'll trade out for Sly. Pick up Vayor as well. This isn't bad at all. An answer back. Rain managed to bring Yugen down a notch.
Double kill.
Extremely good Wild Prison there from Oak. He saved that fight right when the prison came in.
Now the second ult comes through from Tristan, though. He picks up the kills. Don just needs to run. I don't think Don will survive that. He gets shut down.
Very good patience here from Tristan. Normally you would just jump in and try to engage on the remaining members as quickly as possible, but that would mean that they have the maximum members left. He waited until they were caught off guard and only 2 members remaining, and that allowed him to clean up the rest.
I keep seeing really good team fight initiations, but the problem, and we see this actually a ton with LATAM teams in the Valor series, you can have really synced up team fights, and that will carry you approximately the first 5 minutes of the game. And then the team that is playing the best will start to just win the team fight. So again, Numerants to back them up. Vayor's got low, but it doesn't stop the kill from being found in the backlines. Now, 2, Scotty goes down as well. Dono needs to hold Alien Beats alive, and TV just hammers in the damage now with an ult over the wall. And it's 2 more kills to the man as they pick up double the kills of their opponents. And we've hit that 5-minute mark.
Yugen are doing an extremely good job of shuffling their heroes back and forth. They go in, they use their cooldowns, they get some damage off, and they run away. And when I say some damage, I mean a lot of damage because they are piloting. And it's extremely hard here for Rain to get a beat on any one of these heroes. Like you see the same thing with Jinar. Wasiko Kui can't save his name, but he can't get to the other side either.
Has been destroyed.
Wasiko Kui. I got it. Had to puzzle it out. Wasiko Kui. I can say that fast. 100% still during the next team fight.
For sure. But you see, like, in theory, you know, you jump in there with the exuberance, you jump in there with the determination, you get some kills, but YugenDynasty says, what if we just run away when you do that? And it's working. Yeah,
especially exuberance. Backing up is a really strong counter to exuberance. That's why when we saw... That's why when we saw these Jinnar comps used to be run during the Fortress days, the Death Ball days, in the LATAM.
A blue team tower has been destroyed.
That initiation. Now we go for it again. The damage will be there. Vayor manages to get out. The turn is down here. Alien Beats gets a key opener. Tristan should go down as well. Not bad at all, but it's just Alien Beats left, and he'll be chased down. A complete team ace. He gets 2 kills on Tristan and TV, and not enough.
Vayor went in there with such determination and knew that he wasn't going to die in the end. And after that, Tristan and TV did the same exact thing. The problem is, even though they ended up dying in the end, the problem for Rain was that they had done so much damage and had been taking so much damage from the opposing side before they took them down that by the time they did go down, their entire side of Rain was dead as well.
Dark Slayer being up for grabs. YugenDynasty have a full focus around it. That was easy. Wasiko Kui nailed it in the mid lane. Just looking for clear.
They have a lot of interesting names. Wasiko Kui, Serendipia.
Serendipia.
You want to say Serendipia?
I've been nailing that.
Yeah, I
A
got
lot of
confused the first time you said it.
multiple-syllable names, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The Koreans haven't figured out.
A
Single
blue
syllable
team
English
tower
word.
has
Like,
been
A
destroyed.
wind, soul, rain.
Give me a single syllable English word, I will shout your name so loudly. Bayor has to play this carefully. Backs out, now turns the tables. Oak's gone, Serendipia as well. This could get dangerous. It has. A double kill to TV. Once Coquin goes in as quick as he can with the exuberance, but TV has the punish. This is a clean team fight over. Now the Drake arrives. Sly has the front line. Snare will land on him, but he just doesn't care at this point. As this second game, as VO3 will go to YugenDynasty, they advance to the semi-finals.
Can't tell if it was faster or slower than the first game, which ended up going crazy, but 820 is very fast, very dominant, and off the back of completely losing the early game, that's even more impressive.
Yeah. This, I think, I was happy, even though Rain lost, I was happy with their showing, because what I saw was a lot of potential in the way their team fights were being executed. Even when they were losing the game, they still had strong individual performances that were giving them more kills than they should have gotten. Alien Beats was benefiting a lot from that. Unfortunately, their team play does need to take a step up.
What I liked is that we saw an impressive performance from Yugen, and they were only able to be impressive because Rain showed up and provided some resistance. If it was just a complete walkover and they did nothing, then we'd be like, well, we learned nothing here. But because Rain did a reasonable enough job and had some good tactics here and there and kind of pushed Yugen, I can legitimately say that Yugen had an impressive performance here.
Mm-hmm. No, it was a good, very good showing from Yugen, and the seeds of something great from Rain. We'll go to a break. We're back with our final game of today's broadcast. We can turn this around. That's one team name versus Assassin Squad. Do you want to say that team name for me? Because I kind of died.
Which one? Assassin Squad, or we can turn this around?
Right after this.
Blue team's turn to ban.
I heard you guys liked video games, so I went out back, checked around for a bit. Turns out we had one back there. It was a
Red team's turn to ban. Blue team's turn to
it's
ban.
We Can Turn This Around versus Assassin's Squad. That's what was back here.
I thought you were going to do the old joke of we put a video game in your video game so you can video game while you video game.
Blue team's turn to pick.
One of those things. You know, I was old enough to actually watch that show, Pit My
Red
Ride,
team's turn
when it first came
to
out.
pick.
Alright, but like, why would I make that joke? Because
the joke is still going. It's still a meme, TJ.
then.
It's the world's longest running meme in the history of mankind.
I'm gonna let you in on a secret. You're the world's longest running meme. Welcome to the draft phase of our final game of the evening. It's Capney Darcy, both banned out, Florentina Hayate to answer. In other words, the bog standard. That means we can move on to a more traditional pick ban. Telenas being the first pick will launch a solid ADC, but we can turn this around against a Yorn, a little bit more static, with a Team E to back him up, and oh yes! I get my crack!
I feel like we just ran over. We went right through the fact that my soul has been demolished for all eternity. But anyway.
Because there was a Yorn? Oh.
Yeah, because there was a Yorn. Yeah.
Some combination there.
But I am very happy that we have Dr. Girthy, who we were commenting on in chat quite a bit, and then he goes out and just immediately picks Grack.
He is a doctor of pleasure. He is making me very happy right now. The Grack is everything I wanted, and it's backed up, which means this is side lane Baldom, and the Grack's just raining in the hooks from support.
I mean, you don't really necessarily need a Grack to pair a Telenas. I suppose if you land one hook in the early game, then they're dead.
What?
Because Telenas has ridiculous range, so you don't necessarily need to be...
I'm confused. You don't necessarily need a Grack. That start to a sentence is invalid, regardless of what follows.
Okay.
You are not arguing with a reasonable man here. Crest will follow. Double support for both sides. Presumably that Teamy in the roam support role. Crest dueling up top against a Baldom.
Or you could just throw the meta out the window and throw Teamy in the solo lane. Did you know that the scavenge passive of Teamy goes off when he's when they're by themselves? So if Teamy is just farming by themselves, they actually get more gold than a normal hero.
I did not know that. The more you know.
The more you know. I did.
Turn to ban.
Yeah, I went and tested it. I'm like, oh, that's more gold. It certainly is. And I was very surprised. But then you can't really have a Teamy carry your team, so typically not what you do.
Don't forget, mid-Teamy was a thing for a hot second. Round the first AWC, actually.
Emphasis on hot. It was very hot.
It won a game. I remember that.
It won 2 games, didn't it?
Yeah, because I was doing the color commentary, and I was like, no way this works.
Hello?
And then it worked.
You're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
It was very specific, though. It wasn't just Teamy mid. It was everyone, the entire team was roaming and getting extra gold as they passed by Teamy. Mm-hmm. Kind of weird thing like that. So don't just stick Teamy mid in your home games and expect it to work.
Do not stick Teamy mid. The rest of this draft, though, seems pretty reasonable. This is going to be a tankier game than usual. And it's not so much off meta as alongside the meta. Because, like, all of this checks out. It's just not the characters I would pick to do the roles that they have been doing if I were strictly following the meta. But what fun is that? This looks to be a Zill in the jungle and Alice joining them. Surely not a 3 support team? Thank you.
I'm not gonna say anything until it happens because we're not gonna go into theory crafting until it's actually put in.
Yes. You're a wise
Kali
man.
I definitely do like, but I don't really like Kali with the Zill, who has now been locked in, and they all have been locked in. The reason why is because one way you can deal with the heavy poke team on the other side is if you don't think you can really get to the back line securely, you just out-poke them, and Kali is the ultimate poker. So you go for Telenos, you go for Kali. Unfortunately, Zill's going to be in a little bit of trouble. He might have to go a little bit kamikaze style this game in order to get some value, but that might be okay if they're getting positive trades.
Mm-hmm. I just want to see good Grak hooks. And if I see some sick Grak hooks, my life is set. Let's talk about the opposition, though, because that's like almost as tanky. Teamy crashed as the front line. Zephyrs as well from the jungle. He's going to be able to take a hit or two. They're all kind of dedicated to protecting that Yorn, that Illumia from dive, though, and that will be a tough task with both a Grak and a Zill against them.
Right. Illumia can protect herself when someone jumps on her. Unfortunately, the tornado just goes straight over her banish if the tornado is used first, and even if it's used after close enough. So Illumia's going to have a little bit of a tough time keeping them straight off of them, but otherwise she can be pretty good because, you know, talking about Telenos and Kali, they like to stay in one place, and if you stay in one place, you are susceptible to getting completely blown up by a cataclysm.
The great thing about Illumia into tankier rosters is generally that they like to cluster together, and you can drop a Cataclysm and just stun an entire team, which is real fun. But this specific tanky roster isn't even going to do that.
Sorry, I was getting triggered by chat. So say that again.
This specific tanky roster isn't necessarily even bunched enough together that the Cataclysm is going to be very effective, because you're going to have that Grak kind of playing a little bit further back, trying to hook people in, the Boldum leading the way, Telenos, Kali, both relatively high mobility in their own ways, without dashes, but they do have relatively high mobility.
Welcome to Arena of Valor.
So I'm not really sure I believe in the Illumia.
Get ready. Minions will be deployed.
Right. What you want to do as Illumia when you use your... Other than... is you want to use it at specific times when your teams are in the midst of a team fight, and the other team doesn't really have the option of moving away, especially when there's multiple circles around them. So that's going to be on Leon to make sure that works. And I'm sure if he's picked Illumia out of all the top tier mages that we've seen, a very situational mage like Illumia, then he's probably had his practice on it.
Chat, be nice to Daniel. How'd they get that? Oh, the Grak. I forgot how good Grak was. Pulled the blue buff all the way over there.
And did nothing because Zephyrus was on the wrong side.
Yeah, but my first thought was, is Dragon up already? Wait, that's not the Dragon. So, it was like a 4-stage exploratory experience.
By the way, good decision here from the Zephyrus. Typically, Zephyrus is very mana hungry, so you'd expect him to go for the blue buff, which is what team We Can Turn This Around thought was going to happen, but instead he faked him out, went for the red first. He's going to be a little bit of mana starved for a moment here, but he'll be perfectly fine as long as his team is up.
A lot of poke comes in to say that. Banish as well. They'd like this mind though. Look, Durfy will lead the way into it. Tatsunumi has to flash away in order to stay safe. Hunter will flicker over the wall as well. Spartan joins him. Lots of flickers burned here in this early phase, and now they might begin to paper it as Tatsunumi's looking to do damage with his Eagle Eye. Everyone's on half HP at the end of that fight.
The one issue here is that Tatsumi has run out of mana as this Abyssal's coming up, but oh, wow.
He's too far forward and he's got nothing left. VS Firefog thought he could get in there, but there was just no way to find a full engage against a 4-man team before you evolved. He was like 2 autos away.
Yeah, we're seeing both sides kind of struggle without their ults, so we do have both junglers with them, or, excuse me, nearly has it here on Firefog, but not, but...
got it.
Okay.
You should just extend the sentence.
just talk very slowly as it goes on, but in particular, these supports really require their ults to be effective in these fights. The being a bro from Team E comes into mind in particular. Obviously, the World Devourer, and then obviously, again, the Wild Prison coming in from the side if Oakland is able to rotate over.
He's currently chilling up top, having the world's most exciting top lane match. Goes to the crest. Couldn't notice because neither of them do any damage. Down bottom, Tatsunumi is having the opposite problem. Both him and Hunter are absolutely shredding their opposing support. You have these two very tanky supports and these two ADCs entirely capable of destroying them, but they think they've won the match enough to now they go for the Abyssal Dragon. Savage Gurkha and the Arena Cataclysm comes through. It's a perfect stun. Ethereal Pulse just to try and steal. Katsunomi gets the kill. And the pull. Hunter's in. World Devour. It's sick as Hunter's tracked down. Katsunomi will get the kill now. Tornado comes through for maybe more as the wind shift from Firefog grabs another. And it's a perfect team fight from We Can Turn This Around.
Oh, they certainly did turn it around, and you could not have asked for a better setup here for the side of We Can Turn This Around. They started off with the heavy poke coming out from Tully and the Teledos, and right at the end when they're about to run away, Firefog says, oh, I'm good at chasing. I'm literally the only one on my team good at chasing, and let me go ahead and take out the last member in Leon.
Yeah, was absolutely perfect.
By the way, I tried to say it really, really loud, but I just had to point it out. It's Tatsumi, not Tatsunumi. Don't add that extra syllable.
Tatsumi.
Japanese names I will get triggered by.
Sorry, I'm really easily distracted. Everything that you're saying is right. By how cool these hooks are.
I don't know how you're going to survive a game in which Grak and Ballum are in the game.
I legit won't. This is the last game I'm ever going to cast, because there are too many fun support abilities.
If only we had Ballum on, or excuse me, Gilder on the other team.
Oh my god. You
Just a thought.
Great idea.
What if you hook him, hit him with the wild charge, and then you hit him with the exuberance? Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. I'm just a big fan of stuns.
Everyone hates you in AoV right now for saying that, by the way.
You know what? I know. Oh, that's not bad at all. Jet from above for the Woodbound Hamilton. Shut down by the Cataclysm. Double respawn is there. Hunter's back. Diaz needs to run. It's a complete team fight. Oakland 2 runs in, trying to turn the tables. Can't do that. 1v5. And just as we're complimenting, We Can Turn This Around team fight. Assassin Squad get a darn near perfect one.
Right, exactly. Right after we had the perfect fight where Assassin Squad says we can also turn this around. Corny laugh at the end there as they had the perfect fight of themselves. Death from above into Cataclysm is the exact combo that we were looking for when we were starting this game, TJ. We're looking for a reason why they had the
The hook! Hunter! You messed with the wrong support! Sorry, I got carried away as Spark goes too far forward, stunned up as well. There's the ult in. The Firefog will get one wind shift further forward. Leon's down as well. A double kill to Firefog. We can turn this around, turn back round, the turnaround in the ball lane.
You know what? They got a tower though. I'm gonna say Worth.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say Worth. Yeah.
Maybe. Depends if anything else comes. Because Firefog fully into the jungle. There's zoning down mid. It could be an even tower trade at the end of it. Eagle Eye will make short work of the tower, and it is. No long
A red team tower has been destroyed.
But I was being a bit facetious there, but it is something to pay attention to. If you get kills, the reason why kills are powerful is not really because of the gold you get, it's more because the other side is not on the map for an extended period of time, and that gives you even more an advantage. And since they had already pushed out the wave and killed the tower, it actually wasn't as bad as the situation would have led you to believe. Them losing the tower there makes it a bit, bit painful, but they are still with that gold lead and still.
Wow, Prison! Oakland, you've got to be kidding me! He manages to get away. Now Tatsumi's here. Now to whoa, General on in. That could be back. Cataclysm goes like as well, but the Ethereal Pulse is there. The counter absolutely shredding people. His damage gets a kill. Oakland soon dives back into the fight. He's got the wild stop for the damage reduction. World Devour there for the zone. There's no way to get in on this. Both ADCs are down though. Firefog and Tatsumi taken out, so Gerthy needs to do the work with his pulse. So far, so good, but it's not going to be enough to find the kills.
I just saw that last hook coming in from a mile away. I saw Archer Gerthy looking.
Welcome to Crack Play.
And Hunter's like, I don't really feel like moving. I'm a Yorn. But after a bunch of one-sided fights, we do have one very even fight for the first time this game. But it does, in the end, help. Ooh,
Firefog keeps going. Tries to get Valekia with a nice tornado. Can't quite pick it up.
Ooh, Boomstick picks you up here for Leon. That means that every single Cataclysm is so powerful. So if they get that combo once again, then it's really gonna put a number on the side of we can turn this around. To the point that maybe they cannot turn this around.
I believe...
Sorry. I had to say it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I believe you kind of run out of room on that joke. Zavek's pulled in by the chain lance. Full combo. Hunter will get him. Nicely done. This should open up the Abyssal Dragon. This is looking really good for the Assassin squad.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of turning their kills into objectives and turning into wins like that one. Wow.
Metamorphosis, Cataclysm, it works beautifully again. Tatsumi's gone.
Oh my goodness. She was gone 3 times over with the amount of ults to use on her, but it could be worth it if they get this tower.
Dorothy can't World Devour, full dive instead, double resurrect for the being a bro. The tower's gone, there's no turnaround here. This is so good. Zavex is trying to go back with the Ethereal Pulse, but they've already lost everything.
Ultimate.
Very good dive onto that tower. Not only did they get the tower, but to get multiple members. That is why killing Tatsumi was so valuable, because you can just dive the tower with impunity. No, you're not going to take too much damage other than the tower shots themselves, and that allows them to push on. It's really funny, because sometimes you think that wasting 3 ultimates on one hero is a waste, but if you're able to get the right hero out of the way, then it makes everything so much easier, because your opponent's composition relies on that balance.
If that Greg stays alive, if Gerthin gets another 2 seconds underneath tower, the World Devour cast comes out, and that whole fight goes wrong.
Right, but that's why you have being a bro.
Not just saying that as a Grak fan, saying that as a Grak connoisseur. He was holding on to it until Cataclysm was spent, because that's what messed him up the last 2 times. So they hold Cataclysm for an engage where they're going to full combo the Grak immediately afterwards. Very cleverly played.
Right, and that's kind of the funny thing. There are certain ults out there that by holding them, you mess with your opponent. And Cataclysm certainly was what happened there. But I gotta say, even if he landed it, there's being a bro. And that is a major,
that's not who you want to quote. Wild Prison. Owen's got 3! That's perfect! Resurrect is already blown down. Misses his step for above. That could get much worse. But Metamorphosis is there for the turn. Oakland, Firefuck, they're both down. Gerthin can't hold. Tatsumi's gone as well. It's Zavex all alone again. And this fight did not go to plan.
Yeah, they were trying to focus Naho, but even with a very damagey build coming out here from Naho, it doesn't, because he is a tanky boy, and that's it. He also saw Hunter run right through Kali's pool in the ground. It didn't matter, he had all of life steal in the world, and that is going to be Assassin's Squad taking game 1.
That was well played. That was a lot of fun. It started off with such a beautifully balanced fight, but Assassin's Squad did more work off of the team fights they won, and therefore were able to build a gold lead, and then those even team fights, those perfectly balanced team fights, weren't enough to win the game because the gold was skewing it.
I think that Assassin's Squad had a better plan. They said, this is how our team fights are going to work. Whereas We Can Turn This Around just said, we're going to have a lot of poke, I guess? And then a Zill? And it somehow worked. Well, they use it perfectly. Oh, absolutely perfectly.
Pulled up Leon's profile. You know, I always feel bad. I accidentally do this to people all the time. I feel really bad when I pull up people's profiles, because then, like, the whole stream, like, judges their stats. Who deserves that? But if I'm a judge to the stats, I'm a judge Hunters. 10, 2, and 7. Was this the Yorn we were waiting on to make us believe?
Well, look at his damage. That's even more impressive. 43% of his team's damage, and that's with Illumio on the team getting spam random damage with Cataclysm. I think that it was a specific comp that they knew they could make work with the Teamy. This is like, we pick Teamy and Yorn, and that is a combo. If they don't get Teamy in the future, I doubt they're going to pick Yorn.
We'll see.
So this is So this is basically. This is not them just willy-nilly picking Yorn. This is them having a plan going.
We'll see where they want to change going into Game 2. They have a moment to do it. It's a BO3 set for their place in the semi-finals. Don't go far. We'll be right back with that second game after this.
Blue team's turn to ban.
I'm not gonna lie, I meant to do like a smooth maiden thing for the music, and I just kind of clicked
Blue
it off.
team's turn to
So
ban.
hey, welcome back to the Premier Valor League Rush. The winner of this goes to the semi-finals for their shot at the
Blue team's turn to
$300,
ban.
which is not bad at all. We do have one
Shocked
game
back into the action with
left.
that lack of music. Anyway, okay.
Would you like to?
Blue team's turn to ban.
Yeah, I can try. I can play the cello a little bit.
Pick.
Really? All right, man of hidden talents. Daniel D2AoV is here with me. My name is TJ, and we have one game left of the evening. Boom, right back on track. You can't sidetrack me. It is We Can Turn This Around versus Assassin Squad. Game 1 went to Assassin Squad moments ago off the back of a real solid draft, but they're playing with fire this game too, as they have led Darcy through the draft.
You missed a perfect opportunity to say we can turn this. But anyway.
Yeah, but that was your joke. I didn't want to step on your toes.
Oh, okay. I can burn this one into the ground. Anyway, so I'm having a hard. Okay, how did we had Assassin Squad pick Yorn first last time, but they were going second.
They're not picking Darcy. What? You're the analyst, man. Tell me what's up.
You need to be good at Darcy to play Darcy, and they might not have anyone good at Darcy.
I'm good at Darcy, and I'm not good at this game.
Yeah, I mean, I could win with Darcy as well, but I'd rather be playing my mains if it comes down to it. So.
All right. Well, the mains in question are Ryoma and Baldum. Telena's team needs a counter. Double support again.
Yeah, they're really going all in on completely protecting their marksman. This time, the Telenas is going to be doing basically as much damage, if not more, as the Yorn from last game, but doesn't need to stand still. And here we have, we can turn this around, maybe picking this Yorn, but it's not going to work nearly as well without the protection that Teamy provides. And yes, I would much like to see this Elsu. Yes, there we go.
I forgot Elsu was also not banned in this draft phase. So no Darcy, finally an Elsu. Crash Teamy Telenas over on the blue side. That'll be a very good foundation to build off of, because they can go pretty much anywhere with their jungle from there.
Blue team's turn
can be
to
any number of
ban.
characters. They'll be fine.
Right. Actually, the funny thing is, you can play Yoma mid and you can play mid. So yeah, it really just throws them in any number of directions, depending on what they pick here.
Red team's turn to ban.
I'm interested in the fact that we had a second ban phase and Illumia was their first ban. They're even hovering with Darcy. They'll let it through. Wild. Why would you ban Alice here? It's gotta be a Darcy ban, right?
Yeah, they're probably just thinking about it. I don't think they were actually hovering Alice. I kind of do like the Illumia ban because they already saw last game that Leon is a very capable Illumia. And Illumia can be very annoying if you're an L2 because you're literally standing still trying to snipe people.
Alice will be banned out instead
Red team's turn
by
to pick.
Assassin Squad. So the Illumia is removed, and that's good because the Illumia was real good last game, so it all checks out. Praetor will be coming through in mid. Neither the Ryoma nor the Elsu. You'll be disappointed to learn.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was like, well, where are you going with this? Yeah, so neither... I'm not really disappointed. I'm just saying that they could go multiple directions. It's still up in the air whether they go for the Elsu in the jungle or they just go for the Ryoma in the jungle. It's both possible. They're really just unsure what to do here, aren't they?
Hey, some lucky spin draft they've never heard.
To pick.
The Kali comes through instead. I like the Kali, especially into the comp they're facing. It gives you the disengage potential you need to deal with the Telenas. However, Zavix did run it last game and it didn't go great.
He did. He ran it last game, but part of the reason why it didn't go great was because their jungler wasn't really someone who matched with their poking style. Now they have someone who really fits that in the Elsu, so I think this will go a little bit better. And this does put the onus on Assassin Squad to pick an assassin that can get to the back line, because prior to, or in the last game, they were able to kind of deal with the poking in a kind of roundabout way with the Zephys and the Cataclysm from the Illumia. Now they need multiple heroes to get the back line, so they pick both Lilion and Necroth.
They get that Necroth though, and that's actually terrifying because the Necroth can get onto the Elsu and the Kali real fast.
Right. The one problem with Necroth is that he is so squishy that if he tries to jump on an Elsu in particular, he can just absolutely lose the duel of damage. what you want to have with Necroth is you chunk someone down to half and then he finishes them off, or vice versa. And that will be really incumbent on Assassin's Squad to kind of help out with those kills, kind of get like the group kill, like a half damage here and half an HP bar damage there with Necroth.
How do you feel about Wukong? Because we saw a little bit of it towards the end of Valor series. People seem to believe that you can make him happen with crit. What do you think's going on there?
Wukong is very much like Quillen in a way, in that people just assume because he's a burst damage hero that he scales fast early and fades off late. He's actually the exact opposite. Takes him a while to get going, but when he gets going, he literally just one-shots people. And then he can get out of there because he has double invisibility with his first ability and his ultimate. So this is all to say that they need to be very patient on the side. We can turn this around, and we'll be looking to turn things around after, I believe, an early deficit. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, if they fall behind 1,000 or 2,000 gold here, it's not the end of the world. They can always turn it around. Because of Elsu and Kali and Wukong. There's reasons why.
I'm going to give you a nice, but I feel like you're doing it on purpose at this point. You know?
I mean, it just...
It's all right. You can turn it around.
They picked the specific comp,
right,
in order to have anyway. So
they picked to turn around composition. I got you. Lots of late game scale. We can turn this around. If they get to late game, they'll be happy. That Elsu, that Wukong, and to be fair, the Kali, the Ryoma will all do lots of damage. By contrast, late game Telenas is pretty terrifying, but that's kind of it.
People have been getting better at Ryoma in the late game, which is why he has been getting back into fashion. But typically, I think Ryoma is their bridge to that late game. He's extremely strong in the early game, in my opinion.
Well, to see how that goes. So, Firefog kind of had the opposite impact he's looking to have this game. Last game, he looked terrifying in the early stage and then fell off pretty hard. What does it take to change that? Just the character swap?
Yeah, the character could be huge here. Actually, remind me, what he did last game? My brain is a mush right now.
He was on the nice Zill boy.
Right. Oh, that was just a weird... Okay, so Zill is the exact opposite of the Wukong. Zill farms extremely quickly and tries to get damage early. And there's a kind of a very fine line between killing people and not killing people. And if you're killing people, then you don't die. And if you're not killing them, then you do die. So it's a very fine line with Zill, and he kind of expends all of his damage and can't do anything if he doesn't get the kill. So Wukong's a bit different. He actually gets the kill, and if he doesn't, he can invis his way out of there.
He has more options to stay alive if the kill doesn't happen, whereas the Zill's full committed.
Yep.
Spartan will be zoning here. You can do this a lot with Teamy because of the speed boost on his putty boots. You can just kind of check what's going on. And it's rare that they can mess you up, particularly post-level 4 when you have that ultimate for the Resurrect.
That is a big distinction, though, because we've seen multiple Teamies get punished thinking that playing as if they have being a bro, and they don't, and they're playing very, very far forward and get punished for it, but no punishes here as of yet.
Firefog sees Spartan, doesn't want to go in for all that. There's the first Abyssal Dragon up, which is what this fight is poking around. Oh my god, is he doing damage? But Zarvex as well. Firefog goes a bridge too far, though. The focus turns on him. The extension as well from Spartan Valkyria. Tatsumi just needs to bail behind tower, as there are an awful lot of Assassin's Squad members in mid.
That is actually a really big Blinding Light, Shining Light combo that came out of here. It really sets up for the Abyssal Dragon, whether they take it or are able to leash it out. And that could change the kind of complexion of this game so far, because Naho wasn't even close to being able to contest it at that time. Little things, TJ. Little things that change the game.
I would have... So those were basically what's referred to. I use the terminology effective kills. When you get somebody low enough they need to back, even though you don't actually get the kill, you still gain an advantage on the map. Assassin's Squad kind of wasted them, though. They don't get anything with it. Oakland does now know that this Abyssal Dragon is underway, thanks to his wild prison pressure. Zamex is in the area. Spartan's gone really far forward. There will be no pest attempt for the Abyssal as a result. Oakland can't even really challenge Spartan. Oh. And now he's in trouble in the meantime. Metamorphosis in mid, dunks on Tatsumi. Firefog just needs to bail. Girthy and Zavax can't pick up the kills onto Spartan and Hunter in the jungle. And it's been a net victory and a strong one for Assassin Squad.
It looks like you were looking at the fight towards the mid. While all that was going on, it was a bunch of damage from Hunter onto Zoo. But Zoo was able to get away because Girthy jumped up and hit him with a big snipe. So stalemate there, and nothing gained from either side.
It was a big dunk in mid, though. Tatsumi got blown up by the crash. Ooh. He's really satisfying to jump on people with.
You would think as a Japanese samurai, I'm guessing he is. I'm not really sure what he is, but he has a long sword and he's fighting against like a shark. You'd think he'd have the advantage, but shark's revenge this time.
Did not work.
Yeah, but the sushi. Unfortunately, it was human sushi this time.
His support's Wild Prison, but Girthy, you had a snipe, one chance, one opportunity, and it goes wide. Now the Wild Prison and Wild Charge combo tries to make something happen, but Hunter barely survives, and barely survives this snipe. Not even Zavax can pick up the 2 HP support, currently recalling back to base.
Hunter was trying to die there so that he could get the resurrection up, but there was enough damage coming out from Zoo, and right when it expires, the snipe was there to pick up the kill, but just in between the two of them.
What's curious to me that it is Girthy playing this Elsu, who was playing Grak last game. Support versatility. Or just maybe acknowledgement of the fact that Grak is a carry. Oh, there's range. Firefog in trouble. Now goes full in. Firefog tries to find the turn. Snipe lands. Leon low. Ethereal Pulse to back him up. Hunter's got no HP, but Firefog goes down. Nows tries to find a flank and will double stun, but it doesn't matter. He's got Spartan as well, and Spartan's got a kill. Girthy's got to clean this up. He does him the damage, but he's lost 3 players in front of him, and he'll just have to back off. That snipe doesn't quite have the range, and this might be a tower over to Assassin Squad.
Very poor decision from Firefog to go back into the fight there when he was already extremely low. And that cost him his team. He even got a couple of lucky crits in there just to show how poor of a decision it was. Even with the lucky crits, I wasn't able to take anything out. And that means that his team suffered major losses.
Yeah, not a big fan of it because he got poked by Nows. Nows is playing a really scary macro. And his response to that was, oh, you poked me, I'll poke you. Let's go.
Yeah.
And
sometimes,
that was not the right answer.
You have to swallow your pride in this game quite a lot. Like, yeah, you got me. Okay, I gotta run now. And he did not do that.
Wild Prison, 2 players caught up in it. This could be good. Snipe lined up. There's Hunter pulled underneath the tower. I think the Resurrect was active. Firefog's there, though. They'll get the shutdown, even on Res.
Yeah, very well done by Zoo, making sure to pull him in.
Oh.
Hello.
He's fine.
Yeah. Just 0 damage. Big deal, just jumping through 4 of them. But, yeah, again, Zoo, very good job pulling him in, making sure that even after the res, very compromising position.
Snipe will miss Spartan. Girthy not having the best day with those.
Right, and that's... He has quite a bit of damage to his name, considering as the Muramasa. He's probably, I'm imagining, doing a 60% pierce, so he might have gotten that kill, but doesn't land it. Oh no.
Firefog picked up. Hunter chases Zavax and should get this kill. Will pick up the kill. Oakland's the furthest forward tank in the universe all of a sudden, and he too will fall. Now the mid lane is all Assassin Squad all day as they get a free tower.
The comp is disintegrating before our eyes. The assassin, we can turn this around, not able to turn anything around because they're trying to poke, but then all of a sudden they're getting caught off guard. They're getting caught with heroes in multiple areas, and that means they're all taken down separately.
Oh, Tatsumi, don't do this. You're a little bit far forward, my dude. And you should know that the rest of the team's on your case. The flicker underneath the tower for the Bootyfoot stun and the follow-ups there. Late game Talon from Hunter X, entirely capable of shredding someone who's open for even a moment. Now the Darkslayer will be taken. I don't know what we can turn this around to turn this one around.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a winnable game at the moment, especially because if you look at Talon, build. She has ridiculous crit percentage and damage and speed, or attack speed, excuse me. And that is what happens when you let a Telenos get this farmed up. A couple more items, she's going to be nigh unkillable if she's able to get up that Bow of Slaughter and the Desicle combo.
Hunter scoops up a tower. They'll wait for the Drake to arrive. Wild Prison does go wide. Firefog's in the area. Could get special as he will look for a target. There's Zoo with the engage shut down quickly. Firefog onto Leon, can't make it work. He too is gone. The Ethereal Pulse is barely denting the attackers. Now Zavax will be the focus. Hunter goes too far. The Resurrect misses. They're both dead. Spartan barely survives. And the snipe almost ends him. Girthy guesses the correct push. A second time, he'll get the shutdown.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Spartan deserved that. He deserved to get hit by the snipe for not saving Hunter. Hunter was relying on him. Yeah.
Now just walks up, takes the tower. It's his, by the way. Tower itself should stay alive. Firefog's back to poke him back. But the speed of the Nacroth is almost unparalleled. He even chills to try and take a red buff. Regains all his HP, pops the Judgment Blade underneath it, and wins the 1v1.
Oh my goodness. That is what happens when you go against the Necroth, who is as experienced as Nahos. You can see the extra lifesteal. People underestimate the amount of extra lifesteal that you get when you're low on Hercules Madness these days because of the new patch, and that is what Necroth showed him right there.
Red buff heals him back. Now the Metamorphosis for mid. Tatsumi in trouble as Valkyria just dives into the fountain, well past the core. The second high ground should fall. The damage is coming in, but not nearly quick enough as the core itself is being focused. Oakland down, Tatsumi down. Valkyria will fall, but that's only one. Spartan might have got a bridge too far, but Hunter's here to rein in the damage, and Leon's just chilling as they pick up the second high ground. And this should be the game, pending any heroics. Ethereal Pulse will be there, does whittle Hunter. Firefog needs to do the vast majority of the damage, and he does well, kiting Leon behind the tower. I don't think they can finish, not without a tank, but they will certainly try.
I would not say that they were trying their hard to take on a little bit of communication. Not sure if they're just underestimating their opponents right now, or they just, in general, had a miscommunication, but they're certainly on the way to winning this game if they can bring it together.
Yeah, this is almost unwinnable before we can turn this around. As their name implies, though, nothing in AoV is unwinnable. You do need to be perfect, though, to turn a game like this. They have late game scale. It's conceivable it backs them up.
I want to point out something that happened about 2 minutes ago, if that's okay with you, when Nahos was running away from Firefog and Zoo earlier on. When he dashed back, he actually used the empowered auto attack in order to get the extra lifesteal off of his 2, because it basically is empowered auto attack, so it does more damage. And so he's able to lifesteal off of that. That is insane to be able to do in the midst of running away. Normally you just go dash, dash, dash away. He's like, no, dash, auto, dash, dash. And I don't know. I was just mildly impressed, TJ. I just want to say that.
Yeah, that's really insane micro mechanics, not just literally doing the inputs, but also having the calm at a moment like that to say, okay, I'm going to do this, to make that decision. Here's a Drake summoned. The final high ground tower under threat. Metamorphosis onto Firefog will be spent, but he'll get out safely. While Prison does land, that tower's gone though. And that may be everything they need. Zoo's in trouble, but now it goes too far. Barely survives. Resurrect burn as well. Firefog, this is your moment. You need to turn the fight because the core is going. There's the Drake working away at Firefog to try and focus, but it does not matter as a 3-man focus from the Assassin Squad will take Game 2, the core, without winning the fight.
Assassin Squad proving that they were the superior team over the course of that best of 3. Extremely good individual play, and also a clear vision as far as their drafting was concerned. Very well done by them, and they move on.
Game number 2, and our third match of the day. We'll go over to Assassin Squad. They're in a semi-final now. They'll play versus YugenDynasty. And that should be a fun one to see. Our other game today, of course, with King Crimson versus ATroubledFew. We've had 3 very fun games today. Here's your stat screen for our close. I'd like to give a shout out to my boy Hunter X, who just telenosed.
Yeah, just a ton of damage. 2 games in a row had 40% damage. One first on the Yorn and then now on the Telenos. You give him a backline damage dealer, give him some support with that teammate, and he will do major, major damage. But as an entire team, they did an extremely good job. Obviously, Spartan able to protect Hunter 2 games in a row. Naho providing some beautiful play from the jungle twice in a row as well. We had a few one-sided series this day, or two day, just to speak English like a normal person. But that means that we have some spicy matchups coming up pretty soon. I mean, if you were to pick between this Assassin squad and the YugenDynasty that we saw earlier, who would you go with?
As a commentator and as a play-by-play, I can't make that kind of predictions. You know,
okay.
It's just not safe for my health.
Maybe you need to call a Dr. Girthy to help.
Oh my god, I should. Thank you so much for watching today. My name's been TJ. I hope you had a great time hanging out with us. That will be our final game of the day. PVL will be back next Wednesday. BM Gaming playing against Excessive Impulse, Avengers versus King Crimson, and YugenDynasty versus Assassin Squad. It should be a very fun day of games. If you'd like to find me on Twitter, you can find me at EsportsTj and D2. It's very available over at D2AoV.com. That's right, D2AoV.com, your home for guides, tier lists, and everything else. Wow, I went way harder on your plug than mine. You can, of course, follow the Premier Valor League right here on Twitch or on Twitter. And I would personally suggest you go to the banner below the stream, but just click on their website, because it's pretty cool, and then you can find out basically everything there is to know. Thank you very much for having us today. It was a lot of fun. I've been steamrolling this intro for a while, so I'll just close it. Have a great evening.